launched. We've started the show, and it is Planet Green Trees. We're about to embark 2 hours of medical marijuana and marijuana reform in Michigan.
Attention, ladies and gentlemen, the Planet Green Trees show is underway with your host, attorney Michael Komor.
Alrighty, we have launched. Welcome, everybody. Planet Green Trees, episode number 552. I'm Michael Komor, your host of Komorn Law PLLC. And today's date is March the 10th, year 2022. And we've got a great show planned for you tonight. It's surrounded by a lot of very funny, talented people that are going to be contributing to all that. I guess we're calling the show Endemic next. But I don't know. That'll be explained later. Very excited to say that in the studio we have with a very special guest, Detroit's own T Money Green. We're going to get to him in a minute, and very excited to have him here. I got a lot to say and a lot of questions I'm going to ask him. I understand he's submitted to a cross-examination. We're going to go through a lot of that.
No problem.
And but we are going to attempt to get at a couple of topics here. Those being brand new bill introduced in Michigan that would remove marijuana from the scheduling of Schedule 1 drug category. A lot to talk about there. A study, frequent cannabis consumers exhibit short-term changes in psychomotor performance following marijuana ingestion. Not true. Study published. We have to address some of these ill-fated, unfactually supported studies.
Well, if a study's done, then isn't it true?
And remediation, House Bill 5512, and new information regarding that. And as I said, we've got a special rare interview with Detroit's own T Money Green. And as we go around the room, let's make sure, first of all, we do have the one and only T Money Green, who is joining us tonight, as he's a well-known, internationally renowned musician, American bass player, record producer, and award-winning songwriter, well-known for his work with Death Row Records, Dr. Dre, George Clinton, Five Special, Snoop Dogg, The Dramatics, Tupac, and Warren G. And, of course, Roadwork, which is his current project, and a band that rocked the house at the Cannajam 1. And I understand they're locked in for Cannajam 2. But without just the surface, just the tip of the iceberg of what we're getting into tonight, please welcome the one and only T Money Green.
Komornlaw. You know, I did that commercial for you guys.
I know. It's awesome. I know.
I want to do more.
All right.
Komornlaw. I've been practicing the voice.
All right. Love it.
And moving around the room, we've got Steve Miller of Komorn Law. Of course, Steve is the rover here, all things that need to get done. And, of course, got a tremendous catalog of music from the 70s. Please welcome Steve Miller.
Well, thank you. Good to be here. Very excited for tonight's show with T Money Green.
Komornlaw.
Yes, sir.
And moving around the room here, a little out of position. I don't know if I recognize him over here. We have our dear friend Jim Powers of Michigan Parents for Compassion. Please welcome Jim Powers.
Thank you, Michael. Good evening, everybody. It's good to be here and excited for the show tonight.
And almost as evidence of things getting back to normal, in the studio, we're happy that our dearest friend, Schuyler Engel, also known as the Federalist at times, is joining us. Schuyler, thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate you for showing up.
You're welcome. It's good to see everyone in person.
He does what he can.
And what do you know? The greatest surprise of all is, look who's here. This guy right here. Dewey showed up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Love this guy.
Dewey. Everyone needs one.
It is... We got a lot. We got a lot. Yes, good to see. We got a lot of shared stories and wars that we've went through, and we got a lot to talk about. And of course, on the Zoom area, we have appearing with us Amanda Jocelyn of the brand Amanda Jocelyn. All things Amanda Jocelyn,
Crypto Queen,
NFT, and YouTuber. And,
I've been called a lot of things. And, still got to get used to a couple of them. But
rolling with the punches.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah.
Please
rolling
welcome
with the punches.
Amanda Jocelyn. Thanks for being here.
I am really excited that T Money Green is here because I have one of my favorites is Tupac, and secondarily, everybody that knows me knows Snoop Dogg is my all-time favorite. So it'd be really awesome to have the guy to ask some questions to.
Well, you got it.
We're going to ask some questions. The question is whether or not others are going to be able to ask questions. That's really the biggest challenge here. I'm just kidding. You know how I can be a conversational terrorist at times. I'm just going to admit that just kidding. All right. And of course, we have joining us tonight the person who's oftentimes been described as being responsible for it all. Please welcome also 3D printer enthusiast, we should now be introduced, Jamie Lowell.
Hello. So, I don't think we do have a really great guest tonight, but if we get some time on 5512, I did speak with judges and lobbyists that are pushing it and have some more insight into their twisted thinking on why this is so important.
Let's do that in a moment. Dewey, always the gentleman, reminded me that for some reason I've passed over the team of well-established producers here, the Bunker Boys, Tommy, Dan, and Justin, who usually don't like to be recognized. But thanks for being here, guys. And if anything goes wrong, we'll know that we'll be blaming you guys. All right. So this is what we got. We got the topics. We got a whole interview here with T Money Green. But Jamie, to get some of these other important issues addressed right now, let's talk about what you want to talk about. The introduction of the scheduling bill and the remediation 5512. I was talking. So, Jamie, you said if we have some time. I'm making time now to talk about what you want to talk about.
Clearing the calendar.
Go ahead, Jamie. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So, if people remember 5512, this has to do with specialty courts. Started off being about the drug court in particular, and it would make changes to the law to
the conflict of law between the
Judiciary Act and the
MMMA.
There's no conflict.
So, and it's actually I think 70 or something like that. But anyway, the point being, it would allow the specialty courts to allow people to use their marijuana and medical marijuana as they are saying is the reason. They can't now, they say, but this would at least allow them to do it. So anyway,
it's saying that could prevent them from doing it, and it makes their
pitch is that it allows them to do it, that they can't do it now, but this would at least allow them to do it on a limited basis, which is the problem. So what they actually believe, this is what I was told, was here's what we want to do. Because people are trying to gain on the system. That term was used a couple of times by this retired judge, the Honorable Judge Hoffman. I can't think of his first name right now. He's about 5 years retired from the drug courts, and he's obviously been hired as a consultant by the lobbyists to be a part of this, to help lobby. They want to, when somebody requests using their medical marijuana, if they have their card, they want to have a special hearing for that and make that person bring in their doctor. Huh. And decide whether or not, the condition is
they can play doctor.
Severe enough or significant enough so they can play doctor. And said, we don't want to play doctor, but the judges have to rule the court. The doctors shouldn't be the head of the criminal justice. I said, they're not. They're just acting as the doctors. That's all they're doing. You want to act as the doctors, and that's what's wrong with this. All you need to do is see the card. The card then explains that they've demonstrated a bona fide doctor-patient relationship, that they've been through the whole state-recognized process to use their medicine. If the concern is whether or not that's the case, then show them the card. And then they said, well, there are these mills that these doctors create, and there's all this stuff. Like I said, none of that stuff is relevant. I mean, if you actually have a good reason for a particular case to think that there is some problem with the process involved with getting their card, there are already mechanisms in place to take care of that. And you can make sure that those get put into motion, and then you can await the response. You don't have to do anything except for look at the card. that demonstrates
Look at the
everything
card.
you need to know. And that means that we really should be codifying Michael's People versus Tui case into law and make it so you cannot be rejected into voluntary courts because you're a medical marijuana patient. Now you can't be denied using your medicine if you're a medical marijuana patient. That would solve the problem, would eliminate that extra layer of bureaucracy and an extra step and cost and burden, and keep the courts from being so antiquated. And of course, then we want to talk about how it could actually be used to help people under those circumstances with dangerous substances and that type of thing. But they're not budging on that. That's where the crux came down to be. They don't want to just look at the card. They need to bring the doctor and all this other bullshit in there. So,
in what other scenario would that be a reality, other than it's because it's marijuana?
You brought that up.
Judge Hoffman is retired. He's a district court judge, which, in the term that he was there, it seemed like he finished in 2016. So he was part of the court system that's been described as being the broken system that's designed to get money out of the litigants in order to pay for the court system. So he comes to the table now with experience on a failed system. I don't think he should be able to rely on it. Furthermore, the suggestion, Jamie, we had talked about this a little bit before, that for some reason, because there's so-called federal funding that would be cut off. That has never happened. And
no, and in fact, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that. I did more research on that. The main organizations are BGA, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and then there's another one like AMSHA, which I don't remember what it all stands for. Both of them have their policy clearly available that can be read. They simply say that the money cannot be used to support anything with using medical marijuana. And ASMSHA actually says, like, it can't be used to prescribe it, obviously showing how complex this issue is and how wrong even these, judiciary institutions are, stuff like that, when they try to figure out what's going on with this stuff. But there was an attempt to be a little bit more strict, I guess, in 2019. It just caused too much conflict, and they very specifically loosened their restrictions.
At some point, the VA had a policy, and I can find it, that addressed the conflict that under federal law, marijuana is still Schedule I, and that these VA drug courts are being federally funded. And what are you going to do if a VA is using medical cannabis? Well, the answer really relies on how the VA has treated medical cannabis patients and that they haven't interfered with them. If someone's at the VA and they go and get their medical records because they want to go get certified, they don't stop them. No. And that's really what we're asking. You don't have to endorse it. You don't have to agree with it. You're just not going to punish the person because that's the choice of medicine that they're using.
Contemplated at all.
But I'm just saying that the argument that federal funding would be cut off because of that is a falsity. No. And Jamie, I agree.
Okay, so the rep that set us up with this meeting had a big problem with that. She agreed with like everything we could possibly say. Everybody in this room practically would be agreed with by her on, thoughts on cannabis and how it should be. She said, but the drug courts are way too important. And if they get affected by not getting federal funding anymore, we can't afford that. So we have to, sacrifice these things if that's necessary. Which of course is weird on itself, in itself.
So what are our rights worth?
Here's the ironic thing, though. Here's the ironic thing. They are saying that they need to do this in order to let people use their medicine. So if the grants weren't coming because people are allowed to use medical marijuana, this would prohibit that money from coming in.
No.
Itself.
First of all, this is a joke because the legislation on its face that will change the dynamics at all. And what they're being asked to is to declare that the Judiciary Act, which gives the power over the drug courts to not conflict with the MMMA by virtue of an amendment to the MMA, saying the MMA and any law that conflicts with it, that law will lose, except the Judiciary Act. So if they really had the authority to deny in these drug courts or VA court or what have you, then they wouldn't need to make this amendment. That is such nonsense.
Well, just point.
It's voluntary, but the person has to be accepted, and that's the reason why the judge thinks that all this can happen. And I said, just because the person has to be accepted and it's voluntary, it doesn't offer the ability for the judge to make those type of medical determinations.
First of all, the question is, are they doing the same with other prescription medications?
They are not generally. They say that they can, and they do sometimes. In fact, we even said, do you ban tobacco sometimes? And the judge goes, yes. And we said, really? You have done that? No, I've never done it. I've just heard of it being done before.
Oh, that's the most ridiculous bullshit I've ever heard.
The whole thing was that they were so clueless. I even think some people supporting the bill have decent intentions, and think that they've been talking to something that sounds like it's a good idea. But
Jamie, I think
that's the problem that we have with cannabis in general.
There probably aren't any, I don't know, produced studies, but like there are the statistics that show the reduction in more harmful toxic medications, opioids in particular, reduction in suicides in states that have cannabis as a choice, right? The overdosing, all those. I mean, I don't know those things. Harm reduction.
Yeah. So I sent in about 6 or 7 most recent articles / studies on cannabis's harm reduction for dangerous substances, along with a letter in opposition. So I mean, the committee has that, whether or not they care about it or review it or not. But I did send that information along.
All right. What else about this?
True.
What else about this?
Well, there's the second reading is March 25th in Judiciary. I believe that's a Tuesday, and we usually start at about 9-10 o'clock. So show up and do what we did with 5301. The fact that they're having the second reading makes me think that it's probably going to get voted out, and then we have to do what we did.
I should testify. I should take.
You should.
I don't know why I haven't been like whoever that guy is from the district court that's retired. He's less of an expert than I am. It's my case.
That guy knows shit. He knows that the judges should be in control of everything and be able to make final determinations about everything, no matter what it is.
I would start the whole thing with my whole. If I was to present, I'd start with like, you guys are aware that the trial court funding report said that the district court program is broken. I mean, if that is with your drug courts, without your drug courts, it's broken. Anyways.
I said if the courts have that much power, then the fix in law needs to fix that. Not this other stuff. That's where the flaw is.
I can't believe that they're just still picking on patients at this point. I don't know. This weird, the caregivers are in the fray, and now the. Anyways, all right. So what's the other issues? So let's talk for 10 seconds. So we got
remediation.
T-Money. Okay, what about remediation?
Most people, most consumers, no matter what, whether or not there's actually any proven issue with it or not, want to know whether or not the process has happened to the product.
Let's take a poll. Anyone that smokes cannabis in this room, including those on the Amanda, who is an ingester of cannabis via any method, do you want to know or do you not want to know if your cannabis has been remediated?
I want to know.
I
Absolutely.
Okay. Louis, what do you want? What do you say?
And if it doesn't cause a problem, then what's the issue with sticking it on the fucking label then?
Yeah.
Consumers need more information, not less information. Being more transparent is a better idea.
Yeah.
I just figured that if you get that MRA stamp on it, you're good to go. They're not going to.
Yeah, right.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
That's the remediation bill. What about this other thing? I saw Yusuf Rabi's bill got introduced to remove cannabis from the scheduling. I saw an article where and
it's being nicknamed the Johnson-Clare Act. And, I want to say, too, right now, there's a lot of tribute to komornlawmi for bringing this issue out in the open and making a big deal about it, and having a lawsuit with Johnson-Clare as a plaintiff, of course, with Josie Skog, and many people know, and there are others on it, too.
Medicaid.
And it died because of technicalities, not because of, the conflict that it was trying to resolve that still remains.
Right, we never got to the substantive issue of whether or not it's arbitrary and capricious to sell marijuana and get tax dollars and then still describe it in your code as Schedule 1, which would mean it's illicit. That has never been recognized.
I've been working with Rep. Robbie's office, and keeping in touch, obviously, with you, Michael, and Jeff quite a bit. And just trying to get it done legislatively. The Attorney General said she would support it legislatively, but would continue to work against it in the courts.
Do you think they'd consider giving it a pet name of the komornlawmi bill? Just kidding.
Had I thrown that in at the time, I kind of thought Sinclair was a little bit more fitting.
That's fine. All right. That's fine.
But finally, I worked on it for a long time, and then a couple people realized that it is very complex for a lot of people. It seems really simple. It's a very straightforward, logical conflict that has one resolution, ultimately. But there's so much gobbledygook surrounding it that it was very difficult to get that through to some people. And it took a while. And finally, when a couple things clicked for enough people, that's when it started moving forward.
Well, the reason we lost that case would be because there was no theory that there was no standing, there was no immediate harm, that the MMA protected people, that the MMFLA protected people, and that the recreational stopped, and there's no evidence of any arrests or harm being taking place after the recreational law passed. And after it's passed, all that are in control will follow the law and not and acknowledge it, which is not the case. We've seen raids. There's still raids taking place in some instances.
Not getting their licenses, people getting their kids taken away, still getting charged felonies for small marijuana activity. I'll tell you one thing that's kind of ironic. While we were having an interview with the Attorney General about this was a year and a half ago now, and asking her, just don't defend it, let it win, and then that's what we want. And then we'll take it from there. And of course, she said, no, my department client is too important, and that's not what they want to do, meaning the Board of Pharmacy, I guess, at that point. And that was be too much. But then they brought up how she was trying to hire somebody in to the Attorney General's office, but they used medical marijuana, so they wouldn't hire her in.
No, exactly. That point she mentioned was that, and then she joked that she didn't have to get drug tested for it because she's in charge, but everybody else did. And there's a really well-qualified young lawyer that wanted to work in her office for all of the reasons, was qualified, and had cannabis in their system. She felt bad they had to not give him a job. Well, the only reason that you can't give him a job is because it's Schedule 1. All right, so that's
their State Department. That should be like the clear-cut home run type of an employer that couldn't discriminate against somebody for using medical marijuana.
Yeah, she could have followed Joe Biden, who I think took this. Oh, no, wait a second. He didn't. He actually fired everyone that was in the office as well. So it still remains, unfortunately. The evolution of this is not really...
it should have been challenged.
It is. It's... I mean, just the idea, Jamie, that we got to show up and protest about patients, having to be told by a doctor... by a judge, what kind of medicine to use, that's still going on, and 12, 14 years after the MMA passed is insane.
Well, because it's more about the fact that we're telling the judges that they can't do something, and they'll have none of that. You know that. Probation is a privilege, Michael.
And the number of folks that go through to get their cards that are on probation, there's quite a decent amount of them. So if they're anticipating trying to set up a whole new court for that, new proceeding, that's really going to put a kink in things for a lot of people. Not to mention the fact that any of the doctors that feel comfortable doing it right now are certainly not going to want to go to court over something like this. They'll just simply not do it.
Yeah.
What's the shortest break? 7 minutes. 7 minutes.
All right.
Well, there's a very good, nice, quick encapsulation of all those issues.
I agree. You did a very nice job, Jamie, and thanks for expressing those things. This is what I think we should do. We're going to take a quick break, come back and get right into it with T Money Green, who is loosening up on the bass, I hear. Serious bass being played over there.
The quickest.
So let's take a quick break and listen to Planet Green Trees episode number 552. We're calling it T Money Green episode. We'll be right back.
The Planet Green Trees Show.
When you're charged with a crime, you need a real attorney. And here's just a few reasons why. The police, the courts, the labs, the drug tests, probation, the judges, the jails, the prisons, and the entire system is just one big machine. They have one objective: take your freedom, take your possessions, take your money, take your children, control your life, and destroy your future. You only get one chance to hire the right attorney. One that will stay in your corner, one that will fight for your rights.
Planet Green Trees Show.
Join the Michigan Medical Marijuana Association today, michiganmedicalmarijuana.org. The MMMA is focused on the well-being and safety of medical marijuana patients. The MMMA site provides the most comprehensive and up-to-date news on legal issues, politics, research, cultivation, as well as the various strange products and methods of cannabis use. Come join the discussion with the most knowledgeable and passionate advocates in Michigan today. michiganmedicalmarijuana.org.
An important and historical farm crop in American agriculture is returned after having been classified as a controlled substance and illegal. On December 20th, 2018, the President signed the Farm Bill, also known as the Agriculture Improvement Act of 2018, into law. The signing of the act was great news for the hemp industry, which amended the definition of marijuana in the Federal Controlled Substances Act. Hemp is now defined as the plant, Cannabis sativa L, and any part of the plant, growing or not, with less than 0.3% THC concentration on a dry basis. The plant itself is no longer a controlled substance. Hemp is one of the most versatile plants on earth. From clothing, fiber, paper, building materials, hempcrete, biofuels, CBD, and medical uses, it has been a part of America's industry for over 200 years. Even the United States Constitution was drafted on hemp paper. The time is now. If you're thinking of getting in the farming or processing of hemp, contact our global experts, legal, and consultation teams to make sure that you're on the right road when you venture into the new hemp industrial revolution. Michigan Hemp Industries has been a leader and advocate for the return of the hemp industry, so come be a part of the new revolution in agriculture in Michigan.
Charged with a crime, you need a real attorney. And here's just a few reasons why. entire system is just one big machine. They have one objective. Take your freedom, take your possessions, take your money, take your children, control your life, and destroy your future. You only get one chance to hire the right attorney. One that will stay in your corner. One that will fight for your rights. One that will fight for your freedom. Choose an attorney that's experienced in fighting the justice machine. Attorney Michael Komorn. Knockout victories one case at a time. Komorn Law. Google it. komornlaw.com.
Bill Schuette led the charge against medical marijuana, and even after the will of the voters was decided and the support was enormous, he still continued to fight against the will of the voters, keeping patients from the medicine that they need. So I think it's important that we all speak up on what we think about this initiative. But when the voters have their say, their will must stand.
I am Earl from G3 Cannabis Therapy Network, and you are watching Planet Green Trees, the original and #1 podcast in Michigan for all things cannabis and legal news.
Here's Michael Komorn with more Planet Green Trees.
All right, we're officially back. Planet Green Trees, episode number 552. I'm your host, Michael Komorn. We're going to start the interview with T Money Green. As I said before, he's internationally renowned recording star, American bass player, is a record producer, and award-winning songwriter, well known for his work with Death Row Records, Dr. Dre, George Clinton, 5 Special, Snoop Dogg, the Dramatics, Tupac, and Warren G. All right. So, first of all, I want to start let's go back. You started playing bass when you're 14 years old. How did that come to be?
High school. I saw a guy at 1969 in a talent show at high school. I went to Mumford High School. And this guy was playing, man, and the bass was just ringing out. However, my stepfather is a world-renowned jazz bassist, but I never looked at him playing bass. And when I seen a guy a couple years older than me sounding good on bass, I wanted to do it. That's how that came about, for real.
You said it was your dad that was a...
Yeah, man, huge, man.
Like guitar?
Well, he did, because he did some Motown stuff back there. Mm-hmm. But upright is what he's known for.
Okay.
And, I mean, really great, man. There used to be people in the basement like Esther Phillips, Gloria Lynn, Stunny Stitt, all these different people. What happened, he was like built in the Bakers. Yusuf Lateef, you know, because those musicians couldn't travel with a whole band. Mm-hmm. So they would get with the guys that can sight read right on sight. Just throw the music right out there and they read it like they've been doing it.
Right.
And my daddy had a crew of those kind of guys.
I see.
And they would hit him up all the time, man. And he worked my whole life, but we was taking the message, you know, you better give me my messages, no mess up, you know.
All right.
It's Earl Clue. Would you tell him, Will? You know, just those famous names came across. Sure. So
do you like jazz?
I love jazz, but that didn't do it for me for bass, though.
Okay.
You know, because I was already on my way to loving Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
And, you know.
So this is 69, you're at Mumford, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, and...
talent show.
All right.
Kicking the bass, that's all I heard, man.
Okay. And you'd never heard it before like that?
Not like that. And my biological father was in Vietnam, so he was in Vietnam from start to finish. That particular month, on a Saturday, he would call, and I would go out to my stepmother's and wait for the call. And he would always end it with, what you want? Mm-hmm. And then one day I was like, Daddy, the talent show, man, yesterday, I want a bass. I didn't think about it later that my stepfather, you know, there was probably a slap in his face, but he went on and gave me the, you know, he told my stepmother, get him a bass. So we got me a big old long bass that I couldn't even play, but it was fun learning how to play on it, you know. So that did it there, and 2 years later, I was very professional and making money.
Wow. So what kind of music were you listening to at the time? You said Hendrix a little bit?
Yeah, I was listening to a lot of Hendrix, Aerosmith, you know, everything that was coming on
That's a big music era. You know,
Yeah,
like
when I came up, it was great music,
right,
all the way around. I mean, you like Led Zeppelin, you like
Beatles,
yeah, I love the Beatles. I knew all the Beatles stuff.
Right.
You know, because when we moved, it was nothing but we had all my friends were Jewish. We were the only black family for a long time, right down the street from Marvin Gaye. Well, I mean, I watched him move in, but he was fun too. So this whole thing has been a great career for me, to just not find anything wrong with it. And I've probably been robbed out of a couple $1 million, but I don't really see that, because when you don't see it, you don't see it.
Right.
But you know it. And I mean, I know it clear. The music business has a way of clearing itself up, because I've gotten things cleared up just by waiting it out. So, you know, you can't always afford that lawyer to go in there and fight for you. He might lose, then you go back and, you know. So in the meantime, I stay very busy. It's just like the festivals you guys had. We had a ball for that, and we doing Hash Bash again this year.
I understand.
Yeah, you know. So
Adam Brooks Hash Bash will be. You guys playing Saturday? Sunday. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out for Adam Brooks. Let me say this. You must have had it in your genes or something, right? Because what you just described is not something that is normal, and your joy in you know, wise decision that you made looking back is not for everybody, right?
I think it was Motown. I think Motown, that was huge at that era.
Right.
And then you bringing in the Jackson 5 on us. You know, we'd even chase Jackson 5s at Metro Airport back then. The DJ would say, "Hey, boys and girls, your favorite Jacksons are coming to Metro Airport. Go down and see your favorite Jackson." And back then, you could go all the way to the plane, you know.
When they're coming off. Right.
As soon as they come off, man, we chasing them and snatching. You know, girls will have their hair. And, you know, just seeing that, and then seeing the Temptations and Diana Ross. And then across the street, the road manager for the Temptations moved in. They had a whole little area for Motown. And the road manager moved in, and we could go down there and see the actual clothing and see the microphone, that famous 5 microphone stand. So just seeing all that, I think, just jumped all in me, because I did pretty much take off on the bass really quick.
You practice every day? How do you get good?
I think I might have practiced every day in the beginning.
Yeah.
Barely practice now, man. You guys catching me rusty now, but it's just that, you know, it's like I'm not trying. I used to try so hard to be, and I just wanted to do that for my parents. You know, let them know you can have a kid that's doing something good. And I end up doing a lot of stuff, because, you know, I'm in the era where your parents will say, "I'll be glad when you grow up, get a job and help us pay this rent."
Right.
That's how the black family is. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was to the point where they never said, "I want to see you put some of that money in a," you know, maybe if I could have been geared that way, it'd be a lot more monies. But I've been getting royalties for about 35 years.
That's great. That's great.
And the rap era really took it to another thing for me.
Well, let's talk about that, because that's so you start playing professionally at 16, you said 17?
14, 15. I was with the Dramatics by 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you formed Roadwork was formed in 71, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what happened? So between 71 and the, you know, Death Row Records 1993,
yeah.
What were you doing?
19 years with the Dramatics on the road.
Okay. So that's like as a
kid, 17 till 93.
Okay.
And I wrote a lot of songs for the Dramatics, and we traveled all around. That's where I got my whole claim to fame at. That Dr. Dre stuff, I did more for them in the long run than they did for me. I mean, I brought George Clinton, I brought the Dramatics. You know, I brought big names.
Sure.
That really helped Snoop's album just go to #1. He sold 11 million, while Dre sold 3 million on his album. So it just showed that there was a shift.
So what was it like on the road as a, you know, 19, 20, 23?
Man, I'm turned out. I was you know, by 19, I'm turned out, man. I done learned about groupies. I was one the girls didn't really look at much back in the day. But, man, coming off that stage, hey.
So how long were the tours for? You go for like... You know?
I mean, months, man. But I might, the Dramatics, sometime it'd be 3 months, 4 months, you on the road. You know, you come home right quick, change, you know, get up everything, change the gear up and get on back out. One time we came all the way back off the road, and they met us and was like, "You guys are supposed to be in Los Angeles in 2 days or something, man." Right back around, you know. So that all that is exciting. That I got a book coming that's finished, and way before it even got to Death Row was 20 years of the Dramatics, man.
No, I hear that.
I mean, that was the life right there, man.
So what other bands were like on the, you know, that you would run into? Like, who were
the Commodores, Isley Brothers, Confunction, Al Green. I mean, I'm on the shows with all these people, man.
Right. I would imagine.
And then, you know, the Isley Brothers, you would see, they would have Coliseum sold out. Well, they had us you would talk to a guy who you would think was the promoter. And he was really just fronting for the Isley Brothers. They were throwing their own concerts. And that was just way too smart because you just see people hanging from the rafters, you know what I mean?
Right.
They had that royalty type of money. I mean, you know, kings and queens type of money. They've been around a long time. You know, so those kind of people, Commodores were flawless. Way before Lionel Richie quit, they were just flawless, man.
Earth, Wind, and Fire?
No, not Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Right.
They came. They were there, but I mean, just I guess a whole different.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about. So what about
Temptations?
Like, James
you know.
Brown, was he in that circuit?
No, but the Dramatics started with James Brown. He the first one that took them on the road to get their, you know, start. And he liked them, and they did good with him because it's a total opposite of what's getting ready to come out, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I like to book a show, too. You know, opposites.
Okay.
You know, nobody's competing against each other.
Sure, they compliment each other.
Yeah, compliment. Right.
Actually, there's some competition, maybe. Just
yeah, I mean, you got to get better. You
right.
know, he getting ready to come out and kick. You might as well do it. So, yeah, so the whole dramatic years, and then when I quit, I just had to quit, man, because we had went from real famous to like nothing really, man. You know, one show a month.
How did that way? What was this, like early 90s or late 80s?
Late 80s. Yeah, it was just getting too much. It's too much.
How would you
drugs.
define that? The music that we're talking about with the Dramatics, would you say it's?
I would say that's R&B, soul.
Okay.
Some poppy, you know.
Not on the funk side or less.
No, because they were just
Had
opposite of that.
Side.
Yeah. Now, when I got with them, and then I was able to bring songs. There are 4 or 5, you know, up-tempo funky type songs, but that didn't work for the Dramatics. We immediately got to the lab and came up with a ballad.
Right.
Because that's what we were really known for, more ballads. Yeah.
So was it? So you went through that, like some disco-ish too, maybe?
Yeah, well, the whole disco era. You calling the right shots, man. The whole disco era really had us wiped out.
Is that 4 beat? What is it? Some weird. There's a weird beat about that, right? They take.
you know, we just
something. It's not.
Put it like this: singers ain't gonna sing too much on those kind of
right.
beats.
Just wasn't there.
No, not for no balladeer guys that's doing routines and shit.
Right.
You know
what though? But whoever was hot then, everyone's got at least disco song on an album. You know, it was like the Stones. You know, they did like.
They came up with, you know.
There's always some, you know.
Yeah, Dramatics. We weren't that lucky, even though I did a few other songs, but they weren't as catchy. I think a big part of it was, I remember when me and Ron Banks first started. Ron Banks is the guy who had to ask my mother, could I go on the road? He was the leader of the Dramatics. And when he asked me one day, man, we need to know how to write songs, man, because I can do this album. And I was like, well, I can do the music. Can you do lyrics? He said, yeah. He should have said no, really. Because his lyrics not being catchy is why a lot of this stuff don't get done over. Because I hear a lot of songs, you know, everybody's doing Etta James now, or everybody's doing this. Yeah, well, songs that we wrote, his lyrics were really kind of just, you know, really shy to what was happening. But, we got paid for it.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I would have liked to really gotten paid, and the way you do that is to have, you know, stuff that people can sample. But I'm lucky because a lot of my instrumental stuff, you know, stuff like with George Clinton, that stuff is sampled by the rappers, man, huge.
And that's what you're saying. Like, so a lot of the success that comes to recording artists is that they, first of all, own the tapes or own the rights to them, and then can license the samples from the songs, right?
Yeah.
In addition to whatever royalties from the song being played, wherever it is, they get.
Right, you get it. And, you know, now, thanks to the Funk Brothers starving to death and then finally getting a $2 million check when you're 92 years old, thanks to them, musicians do get paid now on those big records like that. And, I mean, why shouldn't we? Like, I'm Gin and Juice. all you know is the bass when you hear that song. You know what I mean? So Dr. Dre didn't say, hey, T, can you do dong, dong? No, he said, T, what you hear?
Right.
I mean, Robbie Robinson did the same thing. T, what you hear?
Right,
You know,
let me hear.
he just wanted
Put your
more.
bass on here, right.
Right, you know. Hey, what I might have did was too many bass lines, and he got away with it, and he got bass lines now for the rest of his life. But that's cool, too.
Because it's on his song.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
But I'm saying, you're saying like the...
Yeah, because I'm on his song, yeah.
But I'm saying you don't get the
writer's credit. I should have got writers.
Or on the clips that Timma may use, right? Or the sample, if they sample like the bass line on Gin and Juice, you're not getting it.
I'm gonna get money for that now. Like I said, that's thanks to the Funk Brothers because they wasn't getting nothing on all them hit records they were pumping from Motown.
Okay.
So now they have it where musicians can actually, it's SAG, AFTRA, and the Musicians Union has gotten together, and you can actually get your money for being the bass player on these songs and stuff. And I love looking and finding another song that I play bass on. And they don't really have a problem figuring out as me either, because I got just a distinguished style, and it's probably from playing upside down and backwards.
Is this a recent decision or a recent ruling that allowed claims to the rights and royalties on the songs?
This is new. Yeah, this is all new stuff. Yeah.
And so someone must have you're literally going back and saying, well, where are my
royalties for that,
which could have been 10, 15, 20
years
years
what's
ago.
happening because you got Spotify and all these things are streaming your music. So now they have to find and say, hey, wait, that's Tony's. Oh, this Tony's. This Tony's here. Tony's over here. You know, and that's what I'm glad somebody else can do that because we didn't. And I'm going to tell you, this particular era and style of how music is going, I hate it. I liked it when we can go press up some CDs, press up your vinyl, press your cassettes, sell them, have them, just happen to have some, give them away. I never knew how to sell my stuff. I always gave it away by accident. I had my kids was like, man, you better give me. They took some T-shirts from me one night and sold them all. I gave away about 8 of them. So, I just don't know how to do that, man.
Well, you raise a good point. It's always a question of like being a performer and seeing the evolution of music. Even the era of, that 90s era was weird too. Like, until it changed, like the change of music from the 70s to the 80s.
Yeah.
We had 80s music, and then the 80s to the 90s, completely different,
Yeah.
And, it's supply and demand to a certain degree, right? But, but some bands,
Some bands lasted through it.
Yeah.
But they were probably bands. When I got with Dr. Dre and just happened, and Snoop found out I knew the Dramatics. It was funny, he used to play the Dramatics all the time. And then he would get out the car and say, you don't know nothing about that, T. Green. And he'd walk on in the studio. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why do I have to mention these fools, All
right, so how did you end up at this place? So so you were not touring a lot. 80,
no, we were through. I was touring during the 80s. I quit in 93.
Okay, just walked away.
Yeah, I quit in 93. And 4 months later, after the Dramatics said, you'll come crawling back, I was Dre's musical director.
There you go.
Because I had David Ruffin Jr., and I was managing him, and he was young, and his dad had just died from, overdose and stuff.
And he owns Geffen Records.
No, David Ruffin Jr., no. He don't.
No, I'm sorry. He's Motown.
His daddy was the lead singer of Motown, yeah.
All right.
Junior, Junior's good. He don't sound like his daddy, and that was always, people would be like, you sound like your daddy? But he sounds even better. He was on that I Can See Your Voice last night, other night. He turned it out, too. I was proud of him. But he got with me, and he was playing that rap music all the time, and I had just quit the Dramatics to concentrate on, putting time into him.
Sure.
Because it's just a younger. I knew it was time for something younger.
Right.
And he would play this Dr. Dre songs, and I would be like, please stop, stop, David. And so this young lady who had saw me with David had, when I had him in California on the last Dramatics tour, she said, why did you guys leave? You should be back out here. People like David, because I would have him sing for the Dramatics. Bring the Dramatics on and stuff, And she said, I would help you guys come back. And I knew I had a cousin that lived out there that I could go live with real easy, but I didn't know for David. She said, well, I'll help you. Y'all should come out here. And she turned out to be really good because she knew all the places those guys hung out. And the one day she talked me into going out because I was too busy down on my luck and wondering, like, I'm going to go crawling back like LJ said. I know I'm going to do that any day. She said, Tony, you got to come out too. You said you want to make a new life. When I went out, man, we met DOC, Warren G, and Snoop the night I went out.
Just going out to hang out.
Just going out to hang out. And then David, being that age group, he went out there, and then he's David Ruffin Jr. So now that helps because then they know all the old school shit, right? So then they come and they meet me and say, hey, you know, this. And I meet him, and I'm like, wow, man, you guys are jamming. That record is a monster. So DOC and Snoop went on back out dealing with the girls on the dance floor. And Warren G stuck around.
Is it L.A.?
Yeah, I'm in L.A. now, yeah, because we drove from Detroit to California. And on the way, I listened to that Dr. Dre album, 17 hours. I drove a 17-hour shift, right? I never took it out of the cassette.
Just let it run.
And now all of a sudden, I'm liking this music now. You know what I mean? I'm hearing beat downs. I'm hearing, cussing ladies out. And I come from the Dramatics. We were loving all the girls, and getting stepped on. These guys refused to be stepped on by, So it was a whole different vibe. So we got there, and then, when Warren talked to me for a minute, he said, man, you play bass? And I said, yeah, I just got to do with the Dramatics. I can play. He said, well, my brother need bass all the time. Now, Warren G is Dr. Dre's half-brother. And he gave us the telephone number. He said, call him, man. He need bass all the time. So I called him like for a whole week. No answer. And I was like, man.
Because you were listening to the album on the way out there. You knew what.
Yeah, now I'm liking it. I didn't know it yet. I hadn't put it in my bass and learned it.
He was big in California, L.A. Huge at that time. He was huge. And that's why you wouldn't call it Yeah, nothing but a G thing, baby. It was huge here at the same time. You know what I mean? It was just huge. I was trying to think what era he was in when you made this content.
Yeah, well, he had just left Eazy-E, and then Suge Knight, and they were supposed to beat up Eazy-E and took him out of his contract and all of that.
What's his name? The other guy left too. He went on his own.
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube.
Yeah, Ice Cube went on his own. Yeah, he couldn't take it no more.
They were doing all kinds of
and they stayed friends though, so I don't even know why they act like they were beefing. It was all just to make money.
Sure.
But then you always get somebody that takes it serious, What
was the album, Vaseline or something like that? Wasn't there a song?
That was before I got out there. Yeah, the Ice Cube had no Vaseline. You taking it with no Vaseline, but Ice Cube, see, Dre wasn't a writer. He can organize the music.
Right.
But he's not a writer, so them guys could say anything and outdo him. He had to rely on Snoop to write him some stuff or whatever,
He was technically advanced in terms of putting shit together. Dre.
Better than Quincy Jones.
Right. And he could see it and hear it, and it's really an art.
Every record platinum.
A new thing.
Every record platinum or gold. That says a lot.
I know. I'm saying the magic is.
And
he's able to see and hear things and put them together.
Put it together, yeah.
And get the beats on top of it, and then it's and then he's got the reps.
Yeah. So
because what usually happens in rap song is there's a beat first that someone will come rapping,
and then a rap. Yeah.
They're looking for the right beat to go with their
right.
The lyrics are written differently.
Right.
And
sometimes a guy might be a real good lyricist and just got a book full. Like this guy I used to do had like 18 books with him at all time, and they all were full of raps. And he'd be like, oh, yeah.
Right.
He'd be like, oh, man, wait, this will go on this. I'm like, man, that's crazy. But
the creating of it, though, comes from where? Like, you might just go into the studio and start just putting some shit down and...
Yeah, Dre would when I would walk in, he had been in there maybe an hour. And, because when I met him and he said, do you know this song? And I said, yeah, well, I didn't learn it yet. I can learn it real quick. He said, no, I want to hear what you would have played. I played about 30 different bass lines, bro. Hungry as hell.
Right.
He was like, stop, I got to have this right now.
Let's wait, we got to. So you're out in L.A. with...
he finally called me on the 8th day. He called the 8th day when I was like down on my luck.
Right.
And asked, could you come out? And he said, yeah. Now, the funny thing, too, the young lady had a Mercedes-Benz.
You say first, let me check my schedule.
I checked it. It's great. This lady that brought us out had a Mercedes-Benz, real nice new Benz. And we pulled up in there in a clunker. We broke down in Arizona and finally made it. So when he said, come on, David Ruffin Jr., who's now acting very arrogant, she's like, well, you should take my car. He's like, oh, no, you just trying to be down with us. No. And I said, David, why you acting so ugly, man? She got us out here. It's because of her. I said, we taking her car. When we pulled up, Dre had the exact same kind of Benz, only convertible. So when things are for you,
right,
They just gonna just be for you.
Right. I hear you.
So when we pulled up in that Benz, he probably said, "Oh shit, these guys already got some shit."
Right.
And it's David Ruffin Jr. You never know what that means.
Right.
Even though it didn't mean shit.
Right.
At the time, it means more now. But and then I'm getting out to the bass, and I played bass. So man, when I played for him, he loved it, and I was like, man.
So you went right in that day, 8th day, whatever.
The song right in that day. Right in that day.
Call just says, come down right now.
Yeah, can you come down today at noon? And I was like, hell yeah, we can be there. So the girl told us how to get there.
So you're playing bass in the studio.
Yeah, when I walked in the studio, the song was playing before me, and I was taking my bass out the case.
Okay.
And I said, well, you want me to learn? He said, no, let me hear what you might have played. And Detroit kicked his ass right quick, man. I played so many hungry-ass bass lines that if he would have frowned, and I'm the kind of guy has always sold myself short, too. So if he asked me how much, well, he did ask me how much. But for the first time, I don't know, my mouth was like glued shut,
Right.
And because I would have said, shit, $50 every time we get together. I mean, I don't know what his pockets is,
Right.
And he was like, I can start you off at $700 a week. And I was like, doing what? He said, just making up bass lines to my song. I was like, this David Ruffin Jr., he can sing, man. He said, I don't need no singers. I said, David Ruffin Jr. can cut the grass, take care of, you got kids, he can babysit. He gave David a job. David got $250 right on the spot. And the rest is history. David's singing on Gin and Juice. I'm making up bass lines all over the place. And, we did good until it just got too dangerous. Pistols, everybody got pistols, and at any time you could be the one that got beat up, and it just wasn't worth it. Music was meant to be fun for me.
Hold on, so let's talk. So I just want to understand. So you were working, you're just creating bass lines
like a motherfucker.
He's they're all in there in some catalog.
Killing it. Ice Cube coming in, he popping.
He's probably selling them to other people.
Yeah, these guys are looking like Dre got the real. And then the first question Dre asked me after about 6 weeks is, any other musicians as good as you? I was like, hell yeah. I brought in a guitar player named Ricky Rouse. It was just me and Ricky the whole Snoop album before I even start bringing even more people in. So
what the song that you're listening to that you worked on was from what album?
Which one you say now?
So when you first walked in, there was a song
I'm listening to Nothing But a G Thing, baby.
All right, so that's the magic.
Right. And that bass line was, I want to do something freaky to you. That's what it do-do-do-do. They was just stealing bass lines.
Right, okay.
I did show them how I could steal the bass line for you and then change 2 notes on the end, and it's a brand new bass line. So I was guilty for helping them do some of that.
All right. They never got taken to task on that, though, or sued.
No, because you know what it was? They bought that I want to do something freaky to you flat out for like $50,000. That guy was so glad that he hadn't made no money, and he didn't know it was going to be a triple platinum album either. You know what I mean? See, that's what I mean. You can't just, I'd rather sit it out than to just sell some stuff just to be doing it.
Right.
But a lot of people just, give it up. Right. But so the song is playing no bass. I put the bass on and it's over. Now I'm every day coming in with massive bass lines. You got John Singleton coming in because we was doing the Poetic Justice sound check. And he coming in and I'm playing. He's all in there loving that, and I'm just having a ball in Cali, man, for like a good 2 years straight, and that's kind of unheard of. But we always had work. I watched Dre in the workout. He had a whole Vic Tanny in his garage, and I said, man, I wish, damn, y'all in here working out, man, I wish something motivated me to do this shit, man, because I really need to be in. He said, I tell you what, be in here Monday or you fired. And I was like, that's it. You figured out what to do. I said, you are a genius, bro. I will be here Monday working out. And,
you got into that in the 90s? You were into working out?
Yeah, man, really heavy. I quit smoking cigarettes right on the spot because I was smoking cigarettes up to 93. I probably only smoked maybe 6 years or so, but I just didn't like them. And that treadmill, I went from the treadmill like 2 minutes to 2 hours.
Sweet.
After you zone out, you just zone out and walk. Everybody done left. And I would come out of it and everybody's gone, and then we go right to the studio.
Right. And so this probably helps for creativity and stuff, get you relaxed.
Yeah, get you relaxed,
Right. So the era here is 93, 94, 95. The song he does goes good, and the Snoop album gets released, right?
Yeah, Snoop's album gets released. It's the most anticipated album ever, and it's banging away. Everybody's car to go by, you hear it.
And you are living with these guys or in their life
I'm out.
while
Yeah,
all this shit's going on.
Yeah, you're already looking at me on MTV and everything. So all my people back home are all fascinated. When I came home, it was crazy, man. Just like, and I'm hearing my bass up and down my street and everything. You know,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And then the fact that I've never changed on people. I've always been. Because I was working with the Dramatics all the time before. Right. So
you're
they
a professional.
Yeah. Nobody, you know. That's what I always tell my people now, man. Who's ever working, like, if you got an attitude, if I don't have an attitude with all the accolades that I have, then you please don't bring your attitude in here.
So let's talk about this, because this is a phenomenon that happens quite a bit to bands, albums, groups. You know, you're at the pinnacle of it. There's a lot of pressure to stay there, right?
Yeah.
Stay hot.
Right.
And egos get involved sometimes or whatnot. And then, of course, you got the Death Row Records, and there's all this, you know, what's his name?
Suge Knight.
Suge Knight.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, you know, legendary things that are going on there and a lot of gang activity involved, security and whatnot. But is that, what's your take on all that? Were you...
it was really, like, cool. Now, put it like this. I did stay on one side of the fence, and that was the blue side of the fence. Suge Knight was the red. The blue was the talent. The red was the muscle.
Okay.
And together, them working together, it worked pretty good. They had... a nice camaraderie going at for 1 minute. But, you know, you started seeing...
Peace.
Yeah, peace. But you started seeing the little arrogance coming because now the guys in blue are making all the money and the guys in red are still getting their check from Suge, you know. And it's getting a little hairy. So, but for a moment, it was historic. And then after that, it turned into, you know, run for your life.
And I imagine there's a lot of not, you know, like, I don't know, there's people looking for opportunities within there, and there's a lot of
tons of it. So it's a lot of people that backstab you in a second.
Right.
Like, don't do nothing crazy.
Or even like using the opportunity to do other bad shit, you know, I don't know, moving stuff around, and I don't know.
Yeah, well, mostly you had a lot of people willing to step on somebody else to get somewhere. And then Suge even had it almost like that.
Right.
If you see something, you know, you can get on up the ladder.
Right.
You know, and people would just, I remember one day I was auditioning our different musicians for the movie awards, MTV Movie Awards we were doing in 1993. And I was, you know, every day had musicians until I figured out which ones I want. But the security asked me one day, T Green, do Suge know you doing all of this? I said, I don't know, but I'm doing it for Dre, man. This is what I do as a band leader. He told me, man, I don't know. I better talk to Suge and see if he know you doing all this. And, you know, that kind of stuff just don't really sit on you well when all you trying to do is be creative.
Yeah.
And then you're too old to be getting beat up. I was older than them guys when I got there, so them beat downs must hurt.
Right.
You know, 6, 7 refrigerator type guys beating on you, you know. That couldn't have felt good at all.
Did you see a lot of that? I mean, that's
an
incident you're talking about where you felt the complete threat of, you know, he's got to approve everything. Is this the MTV Awards? Or is the Source Awards? There's like a big event, it's like the Source Awards or something like that, where
they had the little spat at. Yeah, that was a Source
like East
Award.
Coast, West Coast.
Yeah, I wasn't there. Yeah, I wasn't there for that. Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff Suge would do. Now everybody is trying to collaborate with everybody, and then you got the boss saying,
"No,
you know, come over here to Death Row, leave that mess alone, and come on over here."
Instead of collaborating, you're saying, right?
Yeah,
like
instead of collaboration is the only way they started making millions on top of millions together.
Right. So. And you're talking like the East Coast or, you know.
Yeah, that was you know, everybody. Like, it's all kind of artists on the East Coast. You like Wu-Tang, you like, you know, Redman and Method Man, you like Biggie, you know.
Right.
They like Snoop like everybody, man. So his vision was to work with everybody. But Tupac came and he was feisty. I'm glad I was gone. I left right before he got there. Because I wouldn't have liked that. Because he went from give me the bomb beat from Dre and let me serenade the streets of L.A. to Dre's a faggot. You know, just because Suge was eager to say that, you know, and he keep giving you money and you turn completely on a guy who just made it happen for you. So I'm glad I was gone. I was back at home dealing with a studio called Sound Suite that had people wrapped around it, knowing that I came back home and I was looking for artists.
Yeah.
And I found about 10 artists and put them on the album I came out with called T Green Organized Chaos, and it's like a classic album that it's collectors now, because the record company that was doing it went under. So, the collectors.
Is it out there like on?
Yeah. Because now I don't know who's putting that stuff up, but it's popping up on it. I don't know who's getting paid on it or nothing, but we will find out.
All right.
What's it called?
It's called T Green Organized Chaos. Yeah.
So what was the? Were you a fan of Tupac? The songs that were produced and that he's
and I'm playing on several songs because what happened when we did Snoop's album, we cut like 35 songs and you only used 14. So now it's all these songs left over, and those were all of the songs that they were saying Tupac came and just was grabbing reels and throwing them up and rapping on everything. That's how. I'm on California Love, but it wasn't California Love when I was on it.
Right. You play bass to a different song that's not Careful.
Yeah, and then they changed it, So, but my bass line's on it. So I'm on a few Tupac songs without meeting him. Right. The tracks was there.
And he
did good, man. I mean,
he was really I don't know. That was my time frame when I was like the most into rap and whatnot. I was a big fan, but just from the social politics that were there, his momentum and like drive broke a lot of that apart because Suge kind of encouraged him to be all of that. And he had the talent and he was all that, and that kind of it's like us versus the broader spectrum of the,
right,
collaborators, I would say.
Right. Yeah. So see, Tupac was great and all, and out of it, had it not been so much animosity created for him, Snoop didn't have it at first, and Tupac probably didn't have it either. But once somebody is scared, got you scared, trust me, everybody was probably scared of Suge. You know what I mean? Even though they might not say it. But, they say Dre walked away with nothing, so he was scared of him.
Right, when we signed off on Death.
Yeah, he walked away with nothing. Which I knew that was a trick because once you did all the songs and your name is all on it, it's kind of hard to walk away. You might say, okay, well, I'm going home with nothing. But as soon as check time comes, you go get your check. So I knew that sounded good. But
when he signed off on it, you're saying he really did sign off on it, or...
He just walked away with nothing,
But he's still getting his rights.
Yeah, they're getting the right. They couldn't take that away. Matter of fact, some rights that Suge had of mine, maybe a couple years after he had been in jail, this Sony got in touch with us and told us that, I said, well, Suge had the publishing on that. He said, we understand now that Suge didn't write any songs or anything like that, and we're giving them, the percentages back to the people that did it. And I was like, okay, well, thanks. That's what I mean.
Just by virtue of the fact.
Just by virtue of the fact that everybody know they was tortured or take music taken from you, Vanilla Ice.
Well, I mean, if someone didn't do that,
right,
and they didn't force you or they paid you to have all the rights and they didn't write on it, they weren't the actual writer or performer on it, they can still retain the rights.
Yeah.
As long as it's not done by coercion, force, whatever you're saying. But
right, yeah. But that force thing, people take your, when people... They can take it, like Barry Gordy probably got all the publishing, And then, but Smokey Robinson, once he found out who the hit songwriter was, naturally you're going to take care of them. So Dre, I knew was going to be all right, even though he left. I knew he was going to be all right.
So Dre left first?
Yeah. Well, Dre left. I left first, and then Dre left shortly after that.
And then Snoop left.
And then Snoop stayed all the way.
After Tupac?
Yeah, he stayed. He stayed in there.
And he ended up great with
Master P.
Who's like a phenomenal guy. Like I hear stories about, like he was like the rescue shelter for a lot of rappers that had to get out of town because they pissed off Suge.
Yeah.
But they love him, and he's a big money. He's got doesn't he have the hottest? I mean, currently he's got like
he's got one
Drake?
of the hottest labels. No, that's Cash Money. That's another one. Yeah. That has Drake, Nicki Minaj.
The same kind of thing. Like he's like a
same kind of deal. Yeah.
Let's talk about Master P for a second, because he was. Where's he in the South somewhere? He's like,
he was in Louisiana.
Louisiana, okay.
Yeah. So he did really good too. He made a lot of he was getting a lot of his own money from the labels. I will say one thing. Suge kind of his scaring tactics made a lot of labels come straight with those rappers. Whereas the early days they take your stuff from you in a minute because you don't know.
Right, you're saying that the traditional recording labels will pay you $10,000 and you
right.
nothing, right?
Nothing else. Yeah, no. Sugar's like, hey, wait, I don't see none of the publishing in here, and then they be like, well, we didn't know you. Well, you know,
right? We know you knew.
Then you're a big guy, and you look, get this right, or your kids still go to Crenshaw High, don't they?
right.
You know, next thing you know, hey, we decided to give you 90% of your publishing.
As bad as he was, you're saying
it was
got
good.
some rights.
Yeah, because it did start making people get, you know, better deals and more of their credits and stuff like that.
And you mentioned that in the context of Master P because he was like that.
Yeah.
He was like the draw for him was to come on my label and I'll be very fair to you.
Right. And he was Snoop said he took him out to Louisiana and had him pick out a house. And then got him 2 cars and had his family. He said Snoop, because Snoop said he was getting ready to do an album that said, fuck Suge Knight. And Master P told him, man, that's the stupidest thing you could do. You know, so why don't we just forget it and we'll get out of it. Master P had to pay to get him out of his contract.
That's what I heard, right.
Yeah, but he had all kind of money, so paying wasn't nothing. And then Snoop, first album, then you got the money back.
Right.
So, nothing lost.
Who else is I know you, what's his name? DMX?
Yeah.
Rough Riders? Is that out of Master P's?
No, that's a whole nother camp. There was a camp out of New York. They sampled one of my songs too, like
Rough Riders?
Out of the George Clinton song, they sampled it too, and Master P. It's funny how the different producers would pick up on little samples and do it, you know, because it's really nice. I got a check one day that said it had my whole name. And then it had the description and the name of the song, like Sweet Chariot. And I was like, I did not write no song called Sweet Chariot, but it got my name on it. I'm cashing this. And then I called instead of taking a chance and going to jail.
Right.
I called and they said, oh, that was sampled from your original, your song from George Clinton, man. So, yeah, that's your check. I was like, shit.
What is that called? It's Dark and Hell is Hot? Is that the one?
No. That's not the one.
It's the Funky Things by Parliament? One of those?
Yeah, one of those funky things, yeah.
Okay.
That's the one. That's the one I wrote. And they just take this part. That's all they take is that. You know, and they, it's a... Yeah, that's how that go on there. My bass sound like it need all kind of help.
Let me ask you something. I heard this thing. I was watching this thing about James Brown, and he had like a couple guys that were writing his song, you know, putting his music together.
Yeah.
And his thing was the beat is on the one.
Yeah,
you ever heard that before?
The one before, yeah, I've heard it before.
I mean, I'm just like that's his whole. That's his, you know. And
nothing really special. It's just he's just telling you to stick with that, you know.
It's right. It's like the emphasis is
it's
on the
simplest beat that you can find. You know, it's just, you know, doom, da, you know, one. It's like that, you know.
But the lyrics that he was writing were like that. It was on that.
Yeah,
you know.
right. And that's how he would. He got my girlfriend.
Right. It'd be like there at the front, and then it would 3 or 4 right, and then it comes again. Right there.
You know, so he just working around the beat. He found a nice way to make all kind of millions off of working around the beat.
That's right. That's what I was talking about. We were talking a little bit about the formula.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a formula maker. Like you're talking about creating the actual substance that's used in the song.
Yeah.
And that takes creativity. But there's a formula that's used for producers, right, to a certain degree.
Yeah.
You need a bass, you need a beat, and you need something else. Like there's it's got to be something else. We got to figure out what that is.
Right.
That's the creativity thing. You know, but you know, you do production stuff. You've got the whole studio, right?
Yeah.
Someone
so you know, we have a ball. You know, you have a ball putting it up, and other people's ideas bouncing off of other ideas and stuff. You know, sometimes I got the wickedest bass line I could have, and sometimes I got the weakest bass line. They might be, you love that bass line. As soon as I hear that, then I'm gonna play something else. You know, because I know that means you don't love it.
Right.
But it's been fun, and that whole era with sitting side by side making music with Dre was really enlightening. And I didn't know that I had picked up all of the because he ran the board himself, and I didn't know that I had just instinctively picked that up. And when I went home and I had leased out this studio, it didn't come with an engineer, and I was like, well, where the fuck? And then I sat down remembering how things were going, and next thing I know, I was starting to mix it and record stuff. You know, then I touched somebody younger than me that wanted to know more about it, and had him sit down at the board all the time. So
So there's a skill to that too, right?
That's skillful. You got to have an ear. That ear is special because everything can sound either muddy or everything can sound either too high. You know, now you got to find the happy median on what should be high,
tones and
what should be low, and what's in the middle.
Okay.
You know, and even though you want your vocals on top of all of that.
Even talking like stereo wise, like
Yeah, because the worst thing you want is to have a nice album and you can't hear the person singing the song.
Right,
you know,
right.
So the producer that knows better makes sure that that vocal is sitting way on top of the track. You know, it's complimenting the track though. Yeah, but Dre had like I said, to be able to have everything you've ever done go gold or platinum is just amazing.
Yeah.
And even it was a time though. He had a little flop, and all it did was gold. Because when you've done 10 platinum, you do a gold record, they start to look at you like, well, maybe his time is up. And they were starting to take the platinum albums off the wall of this office, and Jimmy Iovine came in with this cassette and said, well, Dre, here, check this out. Maybe this will work for you, man.
I know what it is.
And that was Eminem.
Right.
So that they like, hold on, put them albums back.
Put them back. Right.
Put them back.
Chart.
And then so each one of them albums have been 10 million plus.
So what is so you, in all of this, you see Dr. Dre as being the superb talent guy.
Yeah.
Like in that whole, part of coming out of the rap thing, right?
Yeah.
Like even though all the guys like Ice Cube and Eazy-E or whatever, it was Dre.
It was Dre, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
even with Snoop.
Yeah,
Snoop was a singer, performer, rapper. He did not have the...
No, he did not have... And he was with Warren G. Warren G ended up bringing him. He had a...
Warren G is the brother.
Dre's half brother.
Half brother, and he brought Snoop.
And he brought Snoop, for that 187 on the undercover cop. That was Snoop's first thing, and he did good, man. When I got with him when he was, like I said, he was probably just about turning 19. And he looked like a baby, man. Snoop.
Okay.
He looked like a baby, man. And real fun-loving guy, man.
Did he seem like a tough, gangster?
No. And that murder trial thing just really
scared the shit out of him.
It scared him.
I know he was not down with going to,
No, that scared him to death, man.
Right.
And he was quiet, but he kept working.
Like now he's this personality, I don't think you could fake his personality.
No, that's him, man.
He's likable by a lot of people.
That's
and I don't think you can. I don't know. People can evolve out of that, but I don't see that. That
gang thing ain't there no more. And if it is, it's gonna be calling a friend,
right,
and saying, "Man, this guy threatened my mother." Okay, well, that's how that's.
But he had to do that at the time. The Compton thing and the doctor thing was part of that. Right?
Yeah, that was part of the whole. They had it, and then it was Death Row.
Right.
I guess if the label was Flowers, then it, wouldn't have been as crazy. But since it was Death Row,
did he really sing in that first album about shooting and killing and stuff? Or was it more like maybe he made the Death Row coming at you kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's all. That was just like that's how they was talking, and they were already shooting moves at different labels. Which was smart, because next thing you know, now everybody's like, ooh, they talked about you. What can you do back? And, now they coming back strong with their people. But it was some crazy stuff. One last story I want to tell you. We went on the Chronic Tour. Now, the Chronic Tour, we had a itinerary probably about this thick long, couple hundred dates straight. We end up doing 8 days and going back home. And here's why. Now, Ricky Rouse, the guitar player, he knew how to read cards, So he was always running around reading people's cards. Dre loved him to read his cards. Read my cards, read my cards.
You mean like tarot cards?
Yeah, he was good at it, too. Right. And so one day he was on the bus. And, we living the life on the road right now. We got
it's a new level.
Yeah, the new level. We got 2 studio buses behind us, big buses with the studio.
So you can go in the.
So we can finish Snoop's album. We still keep going with Snoop's album.
Is this the most expensive tour, most invested?
Huge, but they knew it was going to make a ton of money because every place was sold out that we went to.
Right.
But so here we are. He's reading the cards. He said, "Man, hold on, let me read this again." I was like, "What's wrong, Rick?" He said, "Man, this shit is over. It's saying it's over." And I said, "See, I knew he was a quack, man. Look at all these dates we got." He said, "Yeah, that's what's throwing me off with this." Okay. 7 days later, we were going home. And here's the reason why. We got to Milwaukee. The limousine driver, Sugar, and threw him out of the limousine. made him walk because he wouldn't take them to. I'm not supposed to take you there. I'm supposed to get out. Threw him out. Okay. The sound man, you hearing is nothing but a G thing. You know how you get that feedback? They didn't like that. Dre was mad about that. So as soon as he complained to Suge about it, they had the sound man. Hey, ask the sound man. The Suge want to holler at him in the bathroom right quick. You know, the guy gets beat up and fall. You know, you fail, okay? If somebody asks what happened to your head, you fail. What happened? I failed. Okay. The next day, it was probably 500 police cars, man. When I woke up to go down in the lobby, outside was like, and I didn't know nothing.
Right.
And I'm like, what the hell? Like, and they looking for Snoop, Dre, and Suge.
Because there's so much ruckus attracted us anyways.
Yeah.
It's in the era at the time was gangster rap was dangerous, bad.
Right.
Cops, you know, they were saying that
They was already not liking it.
and there was shit going on with like the, you know, what is the Tipper Gore? Wasn't this the era of the
PMRC?
Right.
PMRC? They're like the parents,
advisory.
right? They're like putting label, but you know, with like the. I mean, we're talking MTV, which you're
Right,
you know, like, there's all that crazy, you know, like Dee Snider.
Yeah.
You're not even finished
Yeah.
Yeah, so so anyway, when we came out and they said, so I was like, what the hell happened, man? And they were like, they looking for Suge, Dre, and Snoop, who had left the night after they did all that ruckus. Then they left and went on to the next town already, so the police couldn't get them. And when we got to, by the time we got to Chicago, they got the news that the tour was cut. And after Chicago, it was going to be Detroit. So I was I was all ready to go home and show off, know.
Yeah.
Biggest tour coming
It
home,
was canceled.
hottest album in the country.
Canceled 2 days before.
Wow.
So I ended up going home anyway. And I stopped by a couple friends of mine that are really, really close. And my friend who played percussions, he was sitting on a box full of returns because he had a record label, you know. And back then, you press up 1,000 to send them out, and 1,500 come back. You'd be like, how did 1,500? I only pressed up 1,000.
Right.
But there's always somebody doing it. And he was sitting, man, he knew more about rap than I did. And I'm like, what are you doing? Are you supposed to be in my place or whatever? I said, I'm going to tell Dr. Dre about you, man. Get ready. I promise you. They doing everything I say, I bring to the table. They letting happen. So I got him, and I said, Dre, man, my boy's sitting at home, man. We need him. I said, don't you need a percussionist? He was like, what the hell is percussion? And then it's this one record called Cutie Pie with a bell on it. And the bell says, ding, like that. And I said, he did that bell on Cutie Pie, that ding. Oh, hell yeah, we got to have that. I'm like, he plays 90 other instruments, and this bell is going to be his claim to fame, right? But when he got there, he introduced Dre to a lot of different sounds he had never heard. So after Snoop's album, he started. And you just hear it. You hear way more production in those songs after, because now Dre is hearing things that he didn't know existed, like bongos and percussions and bells and whistles and shit, So we made a big difference. I had got mad for a minute when Snoop was doing the thing where he was thanking everybody. And I was like, you ain't got to thank T. Green, but it would have been nice to thank the musicians.
Right.
Because your record without them musicians is just fucking poetry.
Right.
You my man.
Right.
But let's call it like it is.
Right.
Ain't nobody dancing to poetry.
Right.
And here we got the bass, the keyboards, the whole shit that's making it happen. He just forgot. And when I seen him in Detroit and I brought it to his attention, he said, somebody else brought that to my attention. I just missed it, man. He said, I was caught up. And I understand you getting a star on Hollywood Boulevard. From carrying pistols to stars on Hollywood Boulevard. Snoop is a success story.
He really is.
He really is doing, and he's living his best life right now.
And I kind of point out the thing with the MTV and the parental stuff is just that, like that was tried. That and other music was tried to be quashed, stopped.
Yeah.
And he's like an ambassador now for the. He's one of the most well-known probably.
They said he crip walked at the Super Bowl party. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
They just did the Super Bowl. That whole thing. It was. Which is it's like like. Can you imagine like Tipper Gore? I don't know, just that era. Like he was not. They were trying to stop that. They were,
Right. It was rough on him.
So what? They have to go back to Milwaukee and face some charges and stuff. Who complained to him? Was it the guy?
the guy, the little guy who was driving the limo complained.
Oh.
So I don't know who went back, but I'm sure Suge, Dre, or Snoop didn't go
Seemed
back.
like the sound guy who got popped in the head would have better, but he stayed with you guys, right?
Yeah. No, he didn't stay with us, but
No, I'm saying, but he continued on.
He continued
He didn't
on.
he didn't rat everyone off and hang around in the morning.
No, he
it wasn't
got
him.
that sound right.
Right. Right.
The sound was right the next day. He got it right the next day. You know, with the limousine guy is done. He was like, I'm out. And like I said, man, it was just some famous stuff going on. But that younger era was amazing for me because and then they really liked me. And then they counted on me coming in and laying down a hell of a bass line.
Sure.
And so I brought my mother out. She went to Dre's house and everything. You know, I was able to share a lot of this with the family.
That's awesome.
You still stay in touch with those guys?
Yeah, like I say, Snoop. I haven't talked to Dre, but I'm looking forward to talking to him soon. Snoop on a regular basis. I can call and talk to him. He was here.
Him to Cannajam
He was here before the. Hey, you know what?
He would probably
talk
enjoy
to him.
it.
Yeah, he would some shit like that. I'm gonna check him out. Yeah, he was just you know and Snoop don't like a lot of security either, man. He's a tough little skinny guy, man. His arms long as hell. He hit you across the table.
Did he just buy, or was he made the president of Death Row Records?
They said he bought it. He just bought it,
Okay.
and which we're all happy about that. But he really bought it for NFT purposes, and that's what I want to learn more about because between the 120 reel-to-reels and DATs that I have and cassettes and all kind of collectible type of things I know I have. So we're just sitting around, I'm listening to these stories about it. And I got different DATs that might say Dr. Dre on the cover because the music is Dre's, stuff people don't have.
I don't see why you couldn't NFT your bass lines.
Well, look, all I need is the guy to just plant that seed. I mean, we going after every little piece we can do, man.
Shyler's an NFT.
Really, yeah.
Shyler and Amanda bought her house with an NFT.
Yeah.
She bought
Sure
bought
did.
an NFT, which is the house. Yeah.
And, yeah.
It was all currency.
It was the first in the
Done with
country.
Crypto and the deed to the house is an NFT, right?
Wow.
Is that the deal?
Yeah.
No bank involved.
Right.
Totally.
Person-to-person transfer, basically. Like,
Well, I'm gonna make sure
Just
you
with
get. I'm gonna make sure you get my number, man. We can get rich.
We're gonna do it.
let's do it.
Komornlaw's brokering the deal.
Komornlaw. There you go. I'm with it, man.
That's right.
I'll make sure it gets done.
All right.
Let's take a quick break. This is a lot of fun. We'll be right back. We'll take a quick break here.
All right.
The Planet Green Trees Show.
When you're charged with a crime, you need a real attorney. And here's just a few reasons why. The police, the courts, the labs, the drug tests, probation, the judges, the jails, the prisons, and the entire system is just one big machine. They have one objective. Take your freedom, take your possessions, take your money, take your children, control your life, and destroy your future. You only get one chance to hire the right attorney. One that will stay in your corner. One that will fight for your rights. One that will fight for your freedom. Choose an attorney that's experienced in fighting the justice machine. Attorney Michael Komorn. Knockout victories one case at a time. Komorn Law. Google it. komornlaw.com.
The Planet Green Trees Show.
Join the Michigan Medical Marijuana Association today. MichiganMedicalMarijuana.org. The MMMA is focused on the well-being and safety of medical marijuana patients. The MMMA site provides the most comprehensive and up-to-date news on legal issues, politics, research, cultivation, as well as the various strange products and methods of cannabis use. Come join the discussion with the most knowledgeable and passionate advocates in Michigan today. MichiganMedicalMarijuana.org.
historical farm crop in American agriculture has returned after having been classified as a controlled substance and illegal. On December 20th, 2018, the President signed the Farm Bill, also known as the Agriculture Improvement Act of 2018, into law. The signing of the act was great news for the hemp industry, which amended the definition of marijuana in the Federal Controlled Substances Act. Hemp is now defined as the plant, Cannabis sativa L, and any part of the plant, growing or not, with less than 0.3% THC concentration on a dry basis. The plant itself is no longer a controlled substance. Hemp is one of the most versatile plants on earth. From clothing, fiber, paper, building materials, hempcrete, biofuels, CBD, and medical uses, it has been a part of America's industry for over 200 years. Even the United States Constitution was drafted on hemp paper. The time is now. If you're thinking of getting in the farming or processing of hemp, contact our global experts, legal, and consultation teams to make sure that you're on the right road when you venture into the new hemp industrial revolution. Michigan Hemp Industries has been a leader and advocate for the return of the hemp industry, so come be a part of the new revolution in agriculture in Michigan.
Charged with a crime, you need a real attorney, and here's just a few reasons why. The police, the courts, the labs, the drug tests, probation, the judges, the jails, the prisons, and the entire system is just one big machine. They have one objective: take your freedom, take your possessions, take your money, take your children, control your life, and destroy your future. You only get one chance to hire the right attorney. One that will stay in your corner. One that will fight for your rights. One that will fight for your freedom. Choose an attorney that's experienced in fighting the justice machine. Attorney Michael Komorn. Knock out victories one case at a time. Komorn Law. Google it. komornlaw.com.
Bill Schuette led the charge against medical marijuana, and even after the will of the voters was decided and the support was enormous, he still continued to fight against the will of the voters, keeping patients from the medicine that they need. So I think it's important that we all speak up on what we think about this initiative. But when the voters have their say, their will must stand.
I am Earl from G3 Cannabis Therapy Network, and you are watching Planet Green Trees, the original and #1 podcast in Michigan for all things cannabis and legal news.
Here's Michael Komorn with more Planet Green Trees.
Dewey, come on, shut the door. All right, so we're back. Thanks for staying with us. Planet Green Trees, episode 552. We're still here with Tony T Money Green, and we only have about 15 minutes left here. So I want to first of all, this has been great, and there's still a couple more things. We're talking during the break for a second about. I mean, this is a cannabis show. We talk a lot about cannabis here. Less lately, but certainly staying on point with much of the developments since we've been in this recreational era. But T, if you will take us back to, was there cannabis that was finding its way into this world you're running around in from the, before you got to Death Row? Was the cannabis on tour with you guys there?
Oh yeah, definitely. But and then with Death Row, it was even better because at that point Dre had the record, The Chronic, and I didn't know what it was going to be different than anything else I had been smoking, And then I know before we ended up buying from one of Snoop's Connect, we were getting this stuff from this girl. And I'm thinking I got some good shit, and one day we're in the studio and I say, Snoop, I got some weed, man. You told me, oh yeah, roll it up, T. I said, I got some good endo, man. He was like, then when he was smoking, he was like, T, this ain't endo, this pretendo. And I was like, what you mean, man? He said, well, this ain't shit, man. And he told us where to get it. Get it from the engineer, man. He's got it all the time, man. That's what I was about. The engineer was my best friend after that. I said, pretendo, that was awful embarrassing, man. The girl come around with it like we want. So I said, I don't want no more of that. They laughed at me when I had that weed. But weed was making it, it was, man, they smoked out rooms.
Well, so when you're with the Dramatics for 18, like a lot of years, was, first of all, so it started in the 70s. What was the cannabis, what was it like? I mean, being in a band then, you go traveling town, was it everywhere? Would you guys have to load up in the buses before you went out? Was it something you do?
We would load up. We would have, everybody would have their own, thing,
Did you share it?
We can get it on the road.
Was it part of the ritual of recording?
Yeah, but not sharing.
No sharing?
Everybody had their own. You better have your own, man, because, sharing was no.
What about smoking in the studio?
Yeah, everybody smoked in the studio.
I'm talking the Dramatics, right?
Yeah, Dramatics,
okay.
Yeah. They smoked in the studio.
What about before going on stage?
Some good, but very rare because, when you smoke real good weed and go on stage and the crowd is there screaming and shit, before you know it, you done zoned out.
Right.
I'll be like, man, I remember when I was in Germany. I'll be like, oh, shit, wait.
Right.
I missed the change.
Right. Although some say, it's a bonding force. Like there's, theories that the Stones used to smoke a joint before they went out together. To kind of, basketball teams, they all light up before they go on to kind of get on the same page, so to speak. I don't know. But I hear what you're saying. It's everyone deals with it differently. Right?
Yeah, everybody's sneaking off into the room. And then in the terrible cocaine era, that really made it bad because everybody's sneaking off to the... Right. And then you see them like, where the hell you been for?
Well, let's talk about that. So that must have been the 80s, right?
That was the 80s, yeah. It started getting nasty.
Like powder.
Yeah,
right?
a lot of powder, and you learned how to freebase.
Right.
Back then, which was, way before the crack era.
Sure.
Which was a whole nother thing compared to freebasing.
Right.
But yeah, then, freebase made you more private, you sneaking off to the side, Some girl is picking you up and taking you to her place instead of you, hanging out at the hotel,
Right.
And it started breaking the Dramatics up. Because then, you get there, everybody gets to the city on time together, and then for the show that's happening 5 hours, 6 hours later, the guys, one of the guys can't be found,
right.
Oh, no.
And then the show goes on and he still can't be found, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So, that era brought about a lot of,
So when it first was on the scene in the 80s, did it replace cannabis, or did it go along with it?
It went along with it.
All right.
I seen it going along because a lot of people wasn't hip to it. So you might, if it's a party of 20 people, you might know 6 of them know about this, type of thing. So,
but it was There's a few, but so when the powder was around, was it? Was it known by everyone else in the band that everyone else was using it?
Yeah. The powder was cool if you was using powder,
like more so than cannabis.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you would have powder and it always had some weed. It was like weed was always in the picture.
Cocaine before going on stage ever?
Probably a lot of guys doing that, yeah. I learned I couldn't do nothing.
Right.
Let me just go on the show, do the show, and then after I might be a menace, Drinking and all that kind of stuff is bad.
Right.
If you got that and you fooled yourself that you sound better when you're using it, then now you're messing up.
And that's been a thing that you've heard artists say, right?
Yeah, that just make me. It really makes me get out there and do more creative.
Creative, in fact, that's the whole thing with Joe Walsh. I think, like Elvis, he's, that guy from the Eagles.
Well, Rod Sterling, was off of all kind of psychedelics doing
Twilight
Zone and shit like that.
Right.
You know, some of them things still scare you today, man. Like, you know, all the gory stuff that we just put in our face now, you can look at a movie that's just shadows on there scare you.
Right. That's right.
You know.
That's right. So was there times where you'd show up in the studio and have nothing going on and their drug influence or use would create some magic?
Well, a lot of that would happen sometime, especially when you found people really just grouped up getting high. Like, you get to the studio, you're waiting to do it. They in the bathroom, been in the bathroom for 3 hours, you know. You haven't even did anything in the studio yet.
Right.
So,
and then they come out. Then they come out all ready to go.
Then they come out ready to go, but it's time to go. You know, they be like, "Well, you know, y'all only got an hour left."
Right.
You know, so that messed up. The cocaine derailed a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Marijuana, it was peaceful.
Right.
I think even smoking angel dust would have been a little more peaceful than you know, the cocaine. Yeah.
And are there any times where someone like came into the studio with like a song that you remember and like it was turned into, like flipped around in a short period of time, and you can blame it on the cannabis as a good for doing that?
I don't know, maybe gin and juice, man, because they was just smoking and then drinking gin and juice. We were really drinking gin and juice, Tanqueray and orange juice.
Okay. When
they did that song, so it was no joke on that song. It's for real.
That's awesome.
Hey, let me tell you one little funny thing about that. So when Dre had that beat going, and, you know, by then I would come in the studio, you know, and unzip my bass, you know, and I might hear a little something, just messing around with a little something, but nothing serious. But I did something. He was like, "Hold on, man. What is that you just did?" I said, "What you mean when I did that?" He said, "Yeah, that's hot, man. Keep that." I was like, "All right, well, let me tune up first because I didn't tune up yet." He was like, "Don't tune up." I said, "Dre, come on, man. I'm a professional, dog. We tune up. You don't know anything about this music right here. Let me tune." He said, "T, don't tune up." And then he had to go to his old reliable line, "Tune up and you fired." And I was like, "Well, fuck it. You want this whole out-of-tune shit? You can have it." You know, but then I learned that there's no, just like me playing, I'm right-handed. I play bass upside down. It killed, my stepfather hated it. But this is just the way I did it. My daughter never seen me play. 3 years old, I gave her the guitar the right way. She flipped it over. And then I was like, "No, sweetie, not that way." And I gave it to her again, and she flipped it back. I was like, "All right. I'm not going to argue with you like I went."
So that's a right-handed guitar you play upside down?
Yeah, I'm just
like
playing
Hendrix.
it upside
Hendrix
down.
played his right.
Well, you know, I thought that, and that was my. His guitar was upside down, but he actually changed the strings.
Oh,
see, I don't change the strings. I'm really playing.
So the low E is on the bottom.
Yeah, for me. Yeah, for Hendrix, the low E is at the top.
Like,
you know,
like all of the.
Yeah, like yeah. And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that, Hendrix. You was cheating." I'm real, you know. I'm right-handed. Everything else I do is right-handed.
That does make no sense, doesn't it?
It was. My dad was like, "Put my when he caught me one day playing his bass, he was like, 'You'll never play like that. Put my bass down.'" And just the fact that he said never is what made me really go after trying to play. Yeah, you know, when you got somebody doubting you, it just makes it a little easier to go after what you think you got.
And it's not a way it would be taught normally. It's a unique thing to the way you learned how to play it, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to find a lot of other bass players out there that are doing it.
Not too many. No, it's not too many that play like that. And then the thing is, I couldn't learn with other guys that play it the right way. I couldn't learn their stuff because, you know, it's just the way their licks might be going down, whereas mine come up.
Right.
You know,
right.
And it's just totally different.
So, throw lefty or throw righty?
I throw righty.
Bat lefty, bat righty.
Bat righty.
Hockey?
I never tried.
What about golf? I don't know. Golf lefty, righty?
I don't know how I was good. None of those things like that.
So throw righty, bat righty.
Yeah, eat.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
tennis?
Yeah, right. Right. You know. Yeah, when I used to play
racket sports with righty, ping pong or whatever.
Yeah. Everything else is just.
So how's that lefty then?
Well,
what is it? Is it the?
It's just it's more upside down. It's not lefty. It's upside down. I'm just playing upside down.
But with the hand that would normally be the strumming hand.
Yeah, this would be the strumming hand, really, for some people.
So you see you're strumming when you're picking?
Well,
or when you're,
you know, all that's happening down here.
Right.
This is one thing, but the action is down here.
Right.
On this finger, you know.
So that's lefty.
Yeah, this is left.
So that was not your dominant hand.
No.
And the strumming and picking with the right, is usually the dominant hand.
The dominant.
So that is not upside down. You're a lefty.
Oh, wow. Well, that's terrible.
No, I don't know. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to make logic. Because, like, right? Like,
You're upside down, lefty.
I'm upside down. Yeah, backwards. I just know it's been.
But you know what I mean? Like a guitar player who's righty is using his right hand or his dominant hand or her.
He's playing completely this way.
Right, but
and now this hand is on the
right.
neck.
I know. Right, so I'm saying, but I don't know. I mean, the
strumming hand.
Right. So the strumming hand, which is that gets the hand that that is deemed the dominant hand.
Right.
Is used for the strumming.
Right. It's used for strumming.
But you're not doing that. You're the
I'm not doing it. I'm opposite with that.
Play any other instruments?
500. Teeny bit of piano, but no basses and sing.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of singing over the years.
What kind of music you listen to now?
Now
road work.
Only.
Right.
Only. It's like my catalog. I mean, it's nothing to listen to now. Luckily,
I agree. I think I listen to a lot of road work.
Yeah, really. I got a stepson who is making beats, and I really like his music. But the music out here today is just too. At least Dre, and then I was able to get him to using more musicians. At least it was, a solid bass and a kick and a snare and a hi-hat and stuff going on. These other things just got them all mushed up in some, and the guy's like, and he got all kind of money for it. You know what I'm saying? And I hear Snoop teaser too. He's like, who invented that mumble rapping shit? Because Snoop, you can understand every word he's saying, It's a whole different vibe.
So the current music industry, I mean, could the decentralizing of music companies, is not really the thing, and people have more ability to be seen, but there's more of that than ever before, right?
Yeah,
it kind of waters it all down.
Yeah,
it's very difficult to get the types of streams or clicks that are going to make you money in this, right? And it's still the same amount of people that are demanding those dollars, that are getting those dollars, right?
Yeah.
Like if there's X amount of dollars, millions or billions or whatever, that are spent on music, whether it was the 70s, 80s, 90s, albums being bought where the artists are getting 10, 15%, and the record companies doing that, still the same dollars exist.
Right, yeah.
Some is going to record. There's still companies or record labels that are putting out albums all the time.
Right.
But their release of it, and they're not printing them. They're streaming it and stuff. But it's produced and they're getting a piece. They pay for the studio, whatever.
Right.
But I don't think it's changed, right? I mean, people still like good music. They don't like bad music.
I'm thinking people like good music, but there's so much saturation of bad music. And I'm not going to call it bad music. Let's just call it different. Or let's just call it young music. Because when you see the young ones bobbing their head to it and stuff like that, you see us usually looking at them like, what are they bobbing their head like that to, Now, you put some smooth Dr. Dre type rap on. Well, a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But nowadays, like I said, you have a certain genre of people coming out for these concerts. It's just totally different now.
And it's also true, is it not, that for artists to really prevail these days, because there's such a watering down, if you're doing it yourself, you don't have the same marketing, and so you're going to rely upon concerts. Like the concerts is where the
money is for a lot of people. Even the oldie groups are working off concerts because people want to hear those good old songs again, rather than the stuff that you're forced to hear now. People can know if they go in to see the Shy-Lights, the Dramatics, Stylistics, they know they're getting ready to hear songs that they can sing and stuff, and that's working a lot more these days. But the rap is paying all the bills for these guys. You see all these guys, you don't even know them, and they filthy rich already. Might only had 2 records, but they get.
What's that phenomenon? They're just saying they're getting a lot of downloads.
No, they getting the money themselves from uploading and downloading their own music, right? So they getting the money. It ain't no record company piecing them off some money.
Okay, in that, like someone who's got a hit summer song, let's say,
right?
This next summer, whatever it's going to be, right? There's always 1 or 2, right?
Right.
They get, and it's just some YouTuber that made it in his basement.
He's getting a lot of money, man.
Gets 20 million views.
20 million views. Well, put it like this: 1 million views. 1 million they say is $8,000. So if he got 20 million views, he did good for himself. But if he's got 20, he's probably gonna have 120.
Right.
You get Drake And Rihanna, those people have 840 million views.
Right. No, I hear
You
you.
know
But
what I mean.
that's on YouTube. They may even do it to Spotify, and Spotify's paying them a couple pennies every time it gets
Right, yeah. Spotify, a penny and a half or half a penny.
for every stream.
Yeah.
So, but it's different than 20 years ago. This talented guy that writes the song may have a single.
Right.
Which, if you want it, you got to go to the store and buy it. You
Right.
got to pay $5 or $4,
Right.
or the album.
Right.
And you take it, or then a disc, maybe on a compact disc from the 80s and 90s.
Right.
And you take it home, and then you take it with you. But accessibility to it was not. You couldn't, wasn't as easily accessible, and there was a value on owning it, right?
Yeah,
Having
own
it.
it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now you don't even own it. You just get your favorite music on the stream. You're not even taking it home. Like,
Right.
You're just paying for it every time you play it.
And I'm saying
I had
that
a hard time with that for a long time.
Yeah, that's
there's no way to stop it. Like, in other words, that the value of owning it which is where the money was at, right?
Right.
Because if you print a million copies of something, they're all gone.
right.
That means that the cost to produce it, which was considered, and the sale of it has made you a profit, right?
Right.
And
Right.
in anticipation, you printed that many, and it's all worked out, and there's dollars that come from it, as opposed
Right.
to, and that's how people get it. It's not from, this watered. I mean, there's really a watering down of it, right?
Yeah,
The
it's dumbing down. It's horrible.
the
Yeah.
accessibility and the supply of it
Yeah.
is what brings the price.
So that's why I think that when whoever came up with this NFT is like, maybe we can bring it back to whereas you can own some piece of this that's yours, because you don't want you don't have to
Right.
own it if you're hearing it on Spotify, Tidal, and all these other places.
Now, you were talking about earlier,
Yeah, there's depends who
way
owns the
before
rights.
all this download,
Yeah, they
streaming
will.
shit.
They get,
Right.
they get pennies.
Oh.
Well, ask them.
You were there when they're presented with Eminem's tapes.
Yeah.
How did Eminem get his tapes to that point?
This-
That's got to be difficult.
Well, not really. These two guys were the Bass brothers, and they worked with George Clinton before.
They were
They're
here in Detroit.
Yeah, they was here in Detroit, and they had Eminem.
Okay.
So they was just
already had.
yeah, they had him. Yeah, and they was in the studio just cutting stuff and cutting and cutting, and finally got a chance to get it out to Dre.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So they had been sending it to Interscope back and forth. So Jimmy had it and gave it to Dre.
Okay.
So but yeah, I mean Eminem wasn't no different than none of these other rappers that's starving and hoping for a day. He had it. It was like that for him at one time too.
Yeah.
He's just like blessed as I don't know what to. And then having Dre don't hurt at all. And then having Dre exclusive. Because I'm going to tell you a little secret. I know Dre's probably worried about the stuff he's trying to release now because the music is so different now.
Right. He may not be able to compete with what's the hot.
You know why? Because he's going to come in way more production. These people are using little of nothing.
Raw, right, yeah.
And you coming in with your album budget was $800,000 or $2 million. These guys are cutting at home for $50 and then putting it out on YouTube, and then before you know it, it's a banger. And then they put it on TikTok and it's blowing up, and it just So Dre's a little worried.
What do you think about you like Jay-Z? Is he in your?
Yeah, I really like Jay-Z. Yeah, I liked him. I thought he was really the bomb. I really liked R. Kelly. I thought he was great too. All those extra activities that you can get caught up in.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal, like a songwriter,
Man,
great voice and stuff.
great.
He's like,
and could sing, no other, man. But you can also get caught up. You can get caught up doing things. I'm just glad. I'm just glad I didn't get caught over the years in a few things. Because before you know it, now you're looking at some real complete changes in your life, and that's bad.
What do you think? I mean, you mentioned earlier, and I know like Warren G.
Yeah,
he was like featuring Warren G. Like that's what I remember. Like his name was on everything. Like he did like a little bit. Like he was a part of the formula, right? For
Well,
like what would you describe his?
Well, what it was with Warren, he was he knew how to make music too, like Dre, but his ear was younger, so he was dealing with. He had Snoop. He's the one that had Snoop and Nate Dogg. He had those guys, and then turned them on to Dre.
Okay.
Which made Dre like, man, wow, these guys are great. And then Snoop and Dre now is history. You know what I'm saying? But Warren, I went out with him after Death Row. Then I stayed with Warren for 3 years, and we traveled overseas. We did 2 90-day tours overseas and one 60-day tour overseas. Those guys are huge overseas, man.
What, Warren G? Yeah.
Warren is bigger than Snoop overseas, and that's only because we worked it. You know, when you go over there a lot and work it, you know, Snoop was coming in, you know, superstar status, and, you know, you get the people, and they just happy to see you.
Right.
But Warren, you
Built
know,
up an audience.
yeah, they accepted
What's
him.
the song he sings on? He sings on a couple for Tupac, but I can't think of it. It's, I don't know. It's somewhere deep in there, maybe even the book, you know, book 1 and 2 or whatever, you know. Or,
Of Tupac, though?
Yeah,
Okay, because, you know, Warren G had the Regulate did it for Warren G. That song, Regulate, that's really Michael McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to Regulate.
If your music's played over,
Yeah.
royalties are paid off of that some way.
Yeah, the radio, that's how you really get paid. And you got companies like ASCAP and BMI, those companies listen, and you report to them what was played at the end of the day. The radio has to turn in a log sheet to these people, and then that's how they find out, oh, they played, song right here.
Multiplied by
however many times it's played. Yeah, right.
That's a penny per play.
Right, that's what I used to like better, because you'd have all these radio stations playing your stuff. You know, you're going into the city, you know, the radio's playing your stuff all day long, and, you know, you're excited about that. You know, like I said, now they're taking away a lot of it. No reason to really be excited unless you, a guy like me who was blessed to be able to do a lot of stuff. I feel sorry for a lot of the musicians and stuff now, man. They ain't getting a
Warren
chance.
G had a good relationship with the East Coast guys. He was able to play.
Yeah, he was cool with it.
Right?
Yeah, he was
unique to like everybody else.
a real nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, a real lovable guy. And then they knew he was Dre's brother, so everybody,
Right.
you know, was cool with him on that.
What about what's his face? Biggie's guy.
Puffy.
Yeah. What's his story?
He was cool, but I mean, he wasn't like, you know, every song he did was a remake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He would actually use
Don Ross, like I'm thinking of the Biggie song.
using all his songs. If you really look, they're all remakes. Whereas at least with Dre and then we were getting a chance to make original music. That's what I'm saying the difference is.
Right.
It would have killed me to been with Puffy
Right.
and just,
like the 100 tracks are the whole song.
Yeah.
Right, like that Diana Ross, you know.
Yeah, you know, I'm coming. Yeah, so, you know.
I'm trying to think. There's a thing, and I'm trying to find what song it was of Warren G's with Tupac. But I like when he's featured on this, he's doing a rap, but it's not the front rap. He's not telling the story.
Right.
He's doing like a back layer and putting a feeling onto it. What is that? Am I right? I mean, he's like an R&B or R&B sound. Or would you consider him like a rapper?
He's a rapper, but the thing is, he's one of those calm, real calming type voice rappers. He's never really being, you know, braggadocious or stuff like that. Right. So he can blend in pretty good. But he probably produced that one song you're talking about with Tupac, because that's when he would include himself on the Tupac song. You know.
What about Anthony Hamilton?
Anthony Hamilton's a great singer. I really like the way he's singing. And he didn't come through Death Row. A lot of different people came through Death Row, though, like the young girl from the dancer. Can't remember her name. It was the 3 girls. They had Waterfalls. That record, Waterfall. Left Eye.
TLC.
Yeah, TLC. Left Eye came to Death Row on some stuff. And I remember when Mary J. Blige came in to do some stuff with Dre. So anytime you needed a hit record, they would send you to Dr. Dre. You know, and then Dre getting the killer, and then it would be a hit song.
How about, do you remember the album Dead Presidents? Remember the movie?
I remember that one. Yeah, it had a lot of different samples because it had a dramatic song on it, as a matter of fact. Get up, get down. They had that's a dramatic song.
I mean, it's such a great soundtrack.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they used some records on that soundtrack. That was cool.
The Anthony Hamilton one.
Yeah, that movie was pretty good, too, though.
It was.
Yeah.
The post-Vietnam thing. And Do You Feel Me is his song, right?
Yeah.
But
it's some good stuff on it. You know, I will say that this era has brought about some great music. The dumbed down era, I think that's just going to be known as the dumbed down era. But good music has to come back unless it's over. I don't know. You know, I was looking at the war when I was leaving to come up here, and it almost makes you not even want to go out. You know, I was like, oh, man, forget it. And I was like, wait, get up, go. You said you're going. You know,
Kanye. Love him or hate him, is he talented? Is everybody?
He's very talented, very talented. I think he's crazy. You know, I think he's a little bipolar, but he's very talented.
A lot of artists might be. Right?
He's a hit maker. I mean, he was putting hits on Jay-Z and those guys. You just didn't know who was doing the music. For a long time, he took it quietly.
What's his secret, though? I mean, why did you just see something different?
He just it's just like Dre. What's his secret? We don't really know. It's just something about when they cook a track up, you feel it.
Yeah.
And Kanye's more of a performer about his beats, so he might make you like it just because he went to dancing all over the room crazy,
Does he make his own beats? Or does
he makes his own stuff.
Playing instruments?
Yeah.
Bass?
I mean, he makes his bass. He'd get a bass off the keyboard or whatever,
Right.
Yeah, he makes his own. That guy's talented, man. You can't, beat it. And I mean, shit, he's a billionaire too now. Rihanna, who I used to love, I don't love her now that she's pregnant. She pissed me off.
Why?
She's a billionaire too now. I mean, so that hip hop and those, they getting that money, man.
Well, I was going to ask you about the collaborating. Like, there's a period of time, and where the rap and there's like unions like rap and rock, like Jay-Z did all that stuff with like the Encore with it. What's that band that come on?
Yeah, he did that, but then you got Run DMC did the thing with Aerosmith.
Yeah. The Beastie Boys would be an example of that because they had like the combination of the rap and the rock.
And
it's a formula that works. I mean, I think
Anthrax and NWA.
Yeah, NWA. They did something.
But what's the one?
Powers.
Right.
Yeah.
That a good metal rap.
Yeah.
But there are bands now that that's their thing. They rap and they
do it. Yeah, they got
rock,
bands like that. Yeah,
right. As opposed to the union of stuff. But
the only reason why I did it with Roadwork like that is because I wanted to do all the songs that I did with Dre, and I needed a rapper, And then I needed a rapper who wasn't stuck on himself.
Yeah.
Because you get a lot of rappers, you say, hey, can you do this song just like Snoop? Oh, man, fuck Snoop got his. I'm trying to get mine, man. Rappers can say some of the craziest stuff sometimes. You be looking at it like, boy, you dumb, really? But Colorblind was like, yeah, T, I'll do it. I say, just rap just like that, and you'll see. And the difference is that all the people can rap along with you, like, because they know the words.
Right.
You get a lot of rappers change their words up and stuff, and then people trying to go along with the song, now they lost. And so Colorblind was great with it, man, and he just promised me he would always do it, and he did it like that, and it was the bomb, man. He's
is that the guy that's singing with you?
Yeah, that's in the band now. Yeah, he's good.
He's smooth.
Yeah, he's smooth with it.
Yeah,
and now I can do the G-Funk review. I get to do songs without being a cover band because it's songs that I'm actually playing, basically.
The female singer is great too.
Lulu. Yeah, I've been knowing her a while. She played in it's like 100 different road works has been going on through the years, and she's like road work. 2005 or something. Okay. She was in, and then I brought her back. But she's beautiful and she can sing and she's smart. She's an actress. She's doing all kind of stuff now.
You got a hell of a drummer.
Yeah, Tom has been with me a long time too, man. He was a rock and roll drummer. I ruined him.
We love Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy was banging away at first in the band. I'd be like, you got to, calm it down a little bit, man. This is G-Funk, bro. G-Funk, man. Because Tommy would be like, and I'm like, can I, hold the pocket down, Tommy?
Give me some space.
Right. Now Tommy got it now, man. I hate when he can't do the show.
Yeah.
He getting busy. You guys been keeping him busy.
We like to keep him busy.
I asked him, I said, man, we got to do we're going to do the hash bash again. Tommy, you going to do it this time with us? And he was like, and I hate hearing that because you my drummer, man. And I got to go to Brand X. My stand-in drummer is good, though. But I just would rather have Tommy,
Well, you're and I can't, what's it called, Tommy, the YouTube that you guys play on? Call it the
my Hyped Up Live session.
So we collaborated with that on the Hash Bash, I think last year or the year before, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
joint. I mean, it's crazy because we didn't know what was going on. Like, you guys had the place you were going to still be live, and they're shutting everything down, and then it was crazy. I remember we had really good intentions.
They had me tripping on that one too. The thing is, Hyped Up Live has became a big platform for a lot of these artists that wouldn't be playing.
It's a great idea,
especially when the pandemic hit, because nobody was gigging.
Right.
And so here we were still doing our show, and we putting you in front of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 people.
Right.
So you're not performing in front of 8,000 people. Now here you are, You know, and now the pandemic is gone. The one guy got a little deal off of the show. Like I said, if we keep breaking a few artists, then it's gonna work for us.
Let's describe it as a Hyped Up Live session, a YouTube channel. That's where it's launched.
Yeah, Facebook. It's launched on Facebook. Yeah, and then it drops on.
You guys
YouTube.
have a band come in and you film them and you record. They record and you film and it gets up there onto the.
Yeah,
and people can see it's like a
you give them
live
comments
recording.
as it goes. Yeah, you give them comments as it goes. And the thing is we've mastered the sound. So on your phone it sounds great. On your laptop it sounds great.
Nice.
Or whatever you put it on,
Tommy?
it sounds great. That's Tommy. That's Jorg. That's Justin.
Yeah.
You know, we got a good team of guys, man. They just getting so busy with everybody else. I'm like,
Yeah.
I got to start shipping
That's what
them
Tommy,
in.
same thing. He was just working with me, and then he got busy. He's got a gig over here, a guy a gig over here.
Yeah, you see how he's
Tommy,
doing
when he
this?
gets some time, come back and talk to us.
All right.
Just kidding.
But I'm thankful. I've been knowing him long enough, so I'm like, shit, you got to get something else too. But he's man, we get a lot done, and it's really when people come in for Hyped Up Live, they always say the same thing. Wow, the production was great. Everybody treated me beautiful here. I had a beautiful time. This is the comments from everybody that come in because that's the way we treat them too. And you get your sound check, and you know we get you going. You know, come in an hour or 2 hours earlier, and walk around, enjoy yourself. You know.
It's great because it gives you the exposure. They got a recording they can use and take. It's like a
they're beautiful. It would cost you $5,000 or $6,000 to get a video of that caliber.
Sure.
5 cameras. You know, give me a break. It'll cost you an arm and a leg.
So 1985, I was playing high school basketball at South Atlanta. We used to come out to Electric Kingdom. Do you remember these guys?
Oh yeah, I remember that song. Yeah,
It was we've come a long way since that, right?
right.
Or like I was gonna say, what is your favorite rap song, or what do you think the greatest rap song ever written is?
It might have at the time when I was coming up, I was liking LL Cool J's stuff that he had, and no one particular song.
Yeah.
That one album, I'm Bad. It had about 8 songs in a row that I liked. You know, where that's rare now that you find 8 songs in a row.
Right.
You know, and I know my daughter won't even listen to a song but for 10 seconds. I'm like, wow, did you even hear it?
Right.
You know, these kids don't, you know, I don't know what it takes to get their ear for it, but they still not, even the ones just helping you get rich, they're not listening to the music but for a few seconds, man. It's just so many people listening, you know, so it adds up. But I don't know what's happening with the music business, and I'm glad that I got a chance to enjoy, because it was a very enjoyable type of business, and now whereas, you know, it's a little different.
I mean, you were at the epicenter of a phenomena that was taking place. I don't know any other way to say it.
Yeah.
You know, and you lived through it and reveled in it while it was, you know, happening. You know.
Yeah.
And seemed to be coming out of it pretty okay. Like no damage. You know.
Yeah. My wife got beat up. I was married at the time, but we were really deep in separation, and she, you know, needed a job, you know, and I finally brought her to death row to work with us. But she, as always, saw the opportunity on the other side of the fence. So the diamonds over there with Suge and then were just blinging a little louder than it was over here, and she jumped the fence. Well, I was like, well, good luck over there. I can't help you. So several months went by, and she living the life, doing more, you know, even making a little more money than I'm making now, which I didn't care because I knew it wasn't going to last long. And before you know it, then she got beat up by those guys. And she's just famous with it. It's all on, you know, Simone Green. She's famous with the beat down all on the internet and stuff, you know. But it was...
Did she stay with them, or she...
No, she
left after that?
Yeah, she left after that. Matter of fact, I gave her money, and she had an artist, and I signed him up, gave her the advance, and told him to get the hell out of here, and I'm getting ready to get out. Because one of the guys, bodyguards, asked me, T, what you thinking about doing now that they beat your wife up? I said, I'm thinking about thanking them because they gave her the ass kicking I always wanted to give her. And now that you asked me this question, I guess it's time for me to go.
Right.
So I knew to get home quick to Detroit. I got all kind of people here, you know. So home, man. Detroit is it, man. And I wish Berry Gordy would have left a little bit of a label behind, just where people can keep putting records out, because there's so much talent that's just running around here ready to rob you because they can't, put stuff.
It is. It's always been a great music town. It's and
it still is.
You think it's organized in the way that it highlights the talent. I mean, you can't say anything about that for the last 2 years, but there's little pockets where you can get access to really good music. Certain types, whether it be EDM music or or like I don't know, those the jazz bars,
like Baker's.
Baker's is still there.
They have Ralph Armstrong in there on the weekend, and Ralph's a dynamic. He used to be with the Mahavishnu Orchestra back in the day, so he's a hell of a bass player. I mean, super. I could never be that kind of bass player. I didn't even want to put that much practice into becoming that kind of. I just wanted to work quick, So I always did just enough to be able to get to that, the next spot. But it's just a little different, and but. Hyped Up Live has shown that there's some tremendous talent here. Yeah. And we have all age, all colors, and I'm picking more of the groups now because at first I was kind of letting everybody else do it. And then if you give me one guy that's horrible, they're not going to say, man, Tommy brought in the worst guy he could bring it. No, T-Money.
Right.
T-Money show wasn't shit last night. Did you see T-Money, man? That was horrible last night.
How often is there any schedule to when the bands will be on, or is it?
Oh yeah, we the third Tuesday in every month.
Okay, new talent.
New talent, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And I heard you mention you do some representing of some talent or some bands and artists, right? You do some management or
well, not necessarily management, but I lend a helping hand on stuff. I'm not trying to manage it because it's hard to tell what this thing is doing. I got a daughter who's fantastically talented, and she bosses me around. She's in California. Daddy, I sent you another song I need you to do for me. And I'm like, damn, would you calm down? But she's good, and I like her music, so I just have to get in the studio and do it. The drummer I had a little light heart attack. The guy that was going to do the song, so that's what's held me up.
She's a singer?
Yeah, she's a great singer, man. She's writing some great songs. Her songs, she kind of liked on the rocky side. She's 21. She'll be 22 on the 18th, and I promised she'd have her 2 songs before.
Bass, you got to get those bass lines down, right?
Yeah, I got to get them there right away.
How would you describe the music she's singing?
I think it's really good. I mean, it's almost like some of it is. I know she's never heard Janis Joplin, but some of it might be on the Janis Joplin. There's nothing really soft.
Right.
She's banging away, and now I told you she plays bass, so we learn how to communicate on the bass now because she plays upside down too. So I can tell her what to do, but she don't know the notes. Like I try to get her to know the notes, but she know the positions. Like if she say, "Daddy, how do I play B flat C?" and then I might tell her, well, on the A string it's 1 and 3. When I found that, she showed me she knew, notes like that by numbers. And that made it where I could give her all kind of fantastic stuff now.
Right.
And she's learning.
1 7 2
Yeah. 1 7 8 9 2.
Right.
Try that. Right. And she'll do it. Oh, yeah, I see what that is. So she getting, man, it's going to be really good. I know she's going to be good. And if nothing else, I've got a lot of stuff that she can benefit from music-wise. And her name is Tony Green.
Sure.
And one day she was like, "Daddy, I'm the real Tony Green." And I was like, "Now how you wait till I make the name famous and you the real? How the hell you think you the real Tony Green?" And she said, "'Cause your name ain't even Tony," which is not. It's Edward Anthony, right? And her name is Tony. She said, "And my name is just Tony Green." I said, "Well, I guess you're right." Yeah. So everybody calls her that when they see it. They tell me, "Oh, it's the real Tony Green is here." So she likes that.
All right, what are you listening to in your car right now when you go on? Like you're on a satellite radio, you got
cassettes.
CDs?
I got a cassette in the car.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm listening to right now one of the songs I did around the Above the Rim soundtrack on a rapper.
Is it John Singleton?
Yeah, that was a John Singleton. Above the Rim. Yeah. Poetic Justice was John Singleton.
Right.
Above the Rim was Death Row. Really, I mean, it was a Death Row sound. Oh, Tupac.
Was it a movie or it wasn't?
It was a movie too. Yeah, Above the Rim was a basketball movie.
Right.
Tupac.
It was Denzel.
Not Denzel, but it was a couple people in there.
All right.
That guy that plays Dennis Edwards played David Ruffin on a movie or something though. But yeah, that was what that is. But hey, I tell you what, man, we're gonna come in for the Cannabis this year. I told everybody I want to learn Shaft, the intro to Shaft.
All right.
You know, I used to love Chef, man. You know,
Right.
You know,
Sure.
We're gonna have fun with that. Man, I know one thing. I got to put my bass in the shop.
Where's the David Geffen Jr. guy? Where's he?
David Ruffin Jr.?
David Ruffin Jr.
He's here. Matter of fact, he just came to town. So that means starting tomorrow, he'll be getting on my nerves.
Right.
But he's here. And then there's Tony, I need your car. You know, he's one of those that you just have to go along with that because our history is too great. But
and you didn't know him that well when you guys went out there.
No, well, I had just met him. They stuck him with me, and he was a crybaby a lot. You know, just a lot of
You're
stuff.
like, I'm not going to make it with this guy.
but what it was, we went in the studio and cut like 8 songs, and they were phenomenal.
And you're like you're brothers for life now, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No
Now,
way,
yeah,
you're
no,
like
no.
trench buddies,
Yeah, that's,
like, right?
That's my that's my son. Like when he performed on the thing, I said, "Did y'all see my stepson turn it out on TV?" You know, I was really proud of him for it because he didn't let me know he was getting as much time as he ended up getting. You know. And he really showed up because he was a stage fright, man. For his daddy to be a famous Temptation, he had a hell of a stage fright. You know. Yeah, I'm glad that y'all had me bring my bass because now I see it needs to go to the shop. I had a guy worked on it and he closed Magic Castle on Woodward closed and you know he would.
The Magic Bag or the
no, it's down. It's down further.
Okay.
It's maybe like 12 Mile in Woodward. And you know, right across from the cemetery, you know, when you go to the cemetery. And this guy kept my bass.
A music store.
Yeah, it's a music store. And he kept my bass in tip-top shape, man. I don't know how to change string. I never changed strings.
What if you break one on the road or something? You got roadie or something?
Yeah, I got somebody there to put it on because I tried to string up stuff before back in my early days, and I never would get it right. So I learned that I could put it in the shop, and they can they can calibrate it for me because when you got wood, the wood will bend a little, and then they have to straighten it back out.
Sure.
Otherwise, you got a guy sounding like he's out of tune on the show.
Do you got any favorite brands of music instruments? Nothing.
No, hell no. Nothing favorite. And these guys shouldn't. I need to start putting some tape over the name. Well, they got me on their website and stuff, you know.
Because you're promoting them for free.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Right.
And I don't get the love. I see them send me the bass.
Right.
I bought this one.
I'll play it.
Yeah, I'm playing it to death.
Right.
You know.
What about amps? What kind of amps you like?
I used to love the Ampeg. Was my favorite amp.
Yeah.
And now GK is another one, Gallagher Kruger or something like that. It's you know. But I never really worried about amps much because when I play live, it's going through the system anyway.
Right.
So.
Any gimmicks like a bass to make it, like fuzz?
I got a little funk pedal that I can, that
wah,
makes it makes a little wah wah type of sound.
Is sustain a thing for bass?
It ain't a sustain. No.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, that's
a pedal. That's a pedal. My brother uses that one.
Okay.
I got 2 brothers that's in the band. My brother on piano.
Okay.
And my brother that's playing guitar.
That's awesome.
And my brother that's playing piano, he's autistic, man. And he's been a guy who's never made a mistake ever.
Autistic, did you say?
Yeah. He never made a mistake ever, man. He's like my favorite brother in the world, man. Just the kindest person you can ever get, and he's got perfect pitch. Wow. He learned how to play. My mother used to sit him in front of the stereo, and he used to just rock like this,
Take it all in.
Yeah, and then one day, somebody was in the basement playing piano, and my mother thought it was me. She's like, "Tony, you sound pretty good on that." I was like, "That ain't me." And then she thought it was my other brother. It turned out to be the baby down there playing, man.
Wow.
He knows every Motown song. You couldn't name a Motown song that he couldn't play.
Like he's just got the catalog.
He just got it all in there, like tweaked to the max. Every little part,
Awesome.
He's very,
by memory,
very
can
good.
do it any time.
He's just it just saves me a lot.
Yeah.
I was trying to get along with other keyboard players. Keyboard players sometimes be very temperamental type of guys. He just makes life so much easier for me.
That's
yeah,
great.
and I mean, just don't make a mistake at all. Tommy, you ain't never heard Ricky make a mistake, have you?
It's great that you got your family with you and that everyone's so talented, right?
Yeah, that really made a difference too, because arguing my mother didn't like that, so I say I know what to do. I'm gonna just start joining,
right?
Let them join me.
That makes a proud mama. I don't know what for everybody.
She's proud. It makes the show makes it easier to deal with, So we just lost my parents, both of them during COVID, even though they didn't have COVID, but during that time. So it just kind of even made everybody even
closer,
even tighter.
That's good because sometimes it doesn't.
But
go
now
that way
I see now because I always wondered Well, why me? Why did that happen for me? Because I knew bass players way better than me.
Right.
Should have got my job easy. And I always wondered whether I was going to be needed later with the family. So I had all the fun in the world. I mean, you see, from 17 with the Dramatics all that time with Snoop and Dre, you know. And now it's staying home. It don't bother me.
It was getting you ready for this.
Yeah.
To be the glue for the family, to keep everyone together.
Right, to keep everybody together, and at the same time doing my shows. Like, you know, I got my room is spectacular down at the Russell. My friend Shadow put it together for me. It was just the room was black and white like this, and it just didn't have any. I only got it to have a place to smoke a joint without being beat up.
Right.
That was the initial place, you know, and it was only $650 a month. Mind you, I live in L.A. 18 years. The place where I got now, if it was in L.A., it'd be $2,500 a month. So when they told me $650, I say I'll take it.
Right.
And I just was smoking and smoking and smoking. Then I started getting bored with that, and then I told Shadow to come check it out, and he came and looked. Man, he said, "Oh man, I can do this. I can do this." Man, he's got it. It's like a showroom now, man. It's beautiful.
That's awesome.
It's beautiful.
From helped out at Cannajam.
Yeah. Shadow was he worked at the Fillmore for like 25 years.
Oh, wow.
Doing the same stuff. So my room looks like a baby Fillmore, really. You know, I said, Shadow, you got this looking like the Fillmore. I know what you doing.
That's awesome.
You know, but he's good. So, and we got shows coming up, man. We've got a nice R&B group this on the 22nd, In Flight, and they're great. You know,
right, tell everyone, if anyone's listening or will hear this, where you're going to be and where they can come see Roadwork.
You can always, you can see Roadwork. We're doing a Cannajam this year, too, along with a Hash Bash, so you might just keep your ears closed for that. But you can always catch us with the Hyped Up Live sessions on Facebook or YouTube. And just look at all the groups. And like I said, this is episode 48. I launched a new show now, a Hyped Up Live session, Next Generation, because we got a lot of younger ones because I'm real stern about this show over here, but I created this show where I can be a little looser and, you know, loosen up and let people. And it's been some excellent, a little 7-year-old boy turned it out the other day.
That's awesome.
He came out, did his little hit record he got on TikTok, man. He turned it out.
That's awesome.
He told me, "Thank you, T Green." I was like, "Get out of here, man. You don't even know who T Green is." But it's nice to just see this new talent, man. Sometimes shit, it brings tears to my eyes.
Detroit's got talent. I mean, you may have to check the name, but that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing when
Yeah.
I was saying Detroit's got talent. Yeah, I don't want to hire Simon Cowher over.
Right.
Just trying to sue. But he was smart with it because everybody that was on them shows signed to him. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Went into
you couldn't even do the show
unless you're
unless you're signed. So we getting that status.
Sure.
If I catch a couple groups, because it's a guy. This guy Drew Verde, man, was just excellent, and one of the Bass brothers saw him on the show, and now they got him in the studio. And them the guys that had Eminem. So I'm like, I sure hope you remember it, brother.
Maybe you get a label and have people signed to it. You don't manage them, but you own the company and have, those managers
Right,
that,
yeah.
there's
you get managers to do it.
But that's
yeah.
like a breeding ground for that to a certain extent.
Right,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like a
So,
petri dish,
yeah, it is.
Nurture the talent. You got all this, you like sharing it, obviously.
Yeah, because I got people now, they come in to rehearse before my show. Like, I want to see you rehearse.
Right.
If the show is in 3 weeks, rehearse for 2 weeks. Let me see you rehearsing. So if I don't like something, I can let you know now I don't like it. And these guys are in there rehearsing their ass off, man. They sound good. They look good. It's going to be a great show.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm thankful for it. And I'm thankful for Tommy, Justin, and all the guys that keep it going because all I got is the venue when it come down to it and the name. But like I tell them, ain't nobody going to say Tommy messed up. So would y'all please don't mess up.
I hear you.
They call it Tony Green. T. Green's show was fucked up last night.
Well, if it was probably because of Justin.
Oh, God, don't get him started. He just waiting to quit.
It's here.
Don't mess with Justin, man.
But I will say, I think it's a little odd. We haven't had any technical difficulties, and I wonder if
we usually have
Steve's
technical
presence here
difficulties.
is the reason.
We usually have technical difficulties, which we easily
Interesting you say
blame Tommy for, but tonight it seems to be going on with maybe he's showing off. He's showing off how.
Yeah, he knew I was going to come and he didn't want to mess it up. Because then I would be like, just narrow it down to 2 people then messing the show up.
Right.
Yeah, because it's been perfect here. I'm like, man, how does that happen? Yeah, but no, the hype is perfect. We got a glitch or two, but I just changed my internet service. Comcast is horrible. Anybody out there, leave Comcast. They're horrible, man. They a lot of money for a little bit of service. I only use it for the show.
I just listen. My wife just told me you can pay more to get a better power. You know.
Yeah, but I just got a better power from Earthlink or something it's called.
It's working good now.
I'm just now getting ready to be using it, but there's no muss, no fuss. Way cheaper because I'm paying $269 or something, man.
It's ridiculous.
And I only use it once a month for those shows.
Right. And you need it all for. I mean, but I was just surprised that they sell you on the Comcast whatever package in the internet, and then you can pay more to get the good internet.
Oh, give me the good internet right off.
It's insane. Like, what is that shit?
Yeah, give me the good internet right off. It's like you can pay me to play the bass.
That's true.
Yeah.
Not Comcast anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they've been bought out all quietly, and then sticking me with the bill. Well, I kept saying I want to get rid of them, and I finally did it today. I was proud of myself.
Some people have a tough time being able to do that. You know what I mean? They will let you quit. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like they think, you're. I don't know.
There's a
South
quit.
Park episode about.
I'm gonna unplug. Unplug it and just plug in the new one. That means I quit.
There's a really funny cartoon where it's like an adult cartoon, but like they go in and try to. Not get the packages that they're giving you. Like, sorry, that's all you got. Oh, why don't you go to another cable? Oh, there aren't any? Oh, too bad.
Right.
Like, what are you going to do? Get nothing. Just like run the show. But it's good that you found it.
Man, I couldn't wait. And I can't wait to see how it works, though. That's the other thing. Matter of fact, I'm supposed to be able to cut it on Monday.
All right.
They send in the modem. I'm going to take it and plug it in. That's all I got to do.
All right. We'll expect.
But we'll see what happens.
No glitch.
I'm telling you, man.
Glitch free.
And I told them, they said, "Oh yeah, well this would be so much better for you. And the speed is immediately. It's so fast. So we'll see.
All right.
Otherwise,
me wanting to maybe call them.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll be going back to Comcast.
Right. Well.
Anyway, something happened.
Just like the Dramatics, you didn't go back to them.
No, I didn't.
See how it holds out.
Comcast, like you'll be coming back.
Right.
Watch. Yeah, hopefully not.
Maybe this new one will be like the Dr. Dre of cable or whatever.
That would be good. Earthlink, because all I needed, she said, how often do you use it? I said, all I needed is for 2 shows for 2 hours. Each show is 2 hours long. That's it. Yeah. I won't even need it no other time. I don't need it for TV or nothing else. So I shouldn't have been paying $269 for that. This service is $89. So,
all right.
We'll see.
Listen, you've been more than generous with your time. A little over. I mean, I don't know. You stayed longer.
I had a nice time.
We got to get. I could go on for hours. I love talking.
Komornlaw. I'm built into the company with the commercial.
You are.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and I, without offending anybody, I think you guys stole the show at Cannajam. Seriously.
All right. Thanks,
It was the perfect. It's the combination of it. Like it was.
I seen people really liking it. They started coming from out of the woods and shit. I looked up and it was a lot of people, especially by the time I called the girl on.
Yes.
They really enjoyed her. So, yeah, we had it. We'll do it again this time.
You got the anthem. Yeah. The anthem.
Yeah, right.
Perfect for that.
Yeah, we coming back with it, man. We got it. We got all the smoke songs.
Yeah.
Thanks to Messy J and Codini. Those are the guys in the band that come up with all of the good old funk smoke songs.
Thank goodness we can celebrate
smoking
and singing those songs while we're smoking.
Right,
public,
yeah,
right?
you can actually
it all
sing
came
along.
together, right?
Right, yeah.
Those would have been taboo a few years back.
Right.
I know. But, all right, this has been fantastic. T-Money Green.
Well, thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Roadwork, Cannajam, live.
2022.
2022.
Going to be great.
All right, we're calling it right there. Thanks for listening. Planet Green Trees, episode 552. We'll talk to you next time. All right.
The Planet Green Trees Show.
When you're charged with a crime, you need a real attorney. And here's just a few reasons why. The police, the courts, the labs, the drug tests, probation, the judges, the jails, the prisons, and the entire system is just one big machine. They have one objective. Take your freedom, take your possessions, take your money, take your children, control your life, and destroy your future. You only get one chance to hire the right attorney. One that will stay in your corner. One that will fight for your rights. One that will fight for your freedom. Choose an attorney that's experienced in fighting the justice machine. attorney Michael Komorn. Knockout victories one case at a time. Komorn Law. Google it. komornlaw.com.
Join the Michigan Medical Marijuana Association today. MichiganMedicalMarijuana.org. The MMMA is focused on the well-being and safety of medical marijuana patients. The MMMA site provides the most comprehensive and up-to-date news on legal issues, politics, research, cultivation, as well as the various strange products and methods of cannabis use. Come join the discussion with the most knowledgeable and passionate advocates in Michigan today. MichiganMedicalMarijuana.org. Join the Michigan Medical Marijuana Association today. MichiganMedicalMarijuana.org. The MMMA is focused on the well-being and safety of medical marijuana patients. The MMMA site provides the most comprehensive and up-to-date news on legal issues, politics, research, cultivation, as well as the various strange products and methods of cannabis use. Come join the discussion with the most knowledgeable and passionate advocates in Michigan today. MichiganMedicalMarijuana.org.
Hi, I'm attorney Michael Komorn of Komorn Law PLC, and you are watching Planet Green Trees.
The Planet Green Trees Show.
Join the Michigan Medical Marijuana Association today. MichiganMedicalMarijuana.org. The MMMA is focused on the well-being and safety of medical marijuana patients. The MMMA site provides the most comprehensive and up-to-date news on legal issues, politics, research, cultivation, as well as the various strange products and methods of cannabis use. Come join the discussion with the most knowledgeable and passionate advocates in Michigan today. MichiganMedicalMarijuana.org.
Before you plead, call me, attorney Michael Komorn.
An important and historical farm crop in American agriculture is returned after having been classified as a controlled substance and illegal. On December 20th, 2018, the President signed the Farm Bill, also known as the Agriculture Improvement Act of 2018, into law. The signing of the act was great news for the hemp industry, which amended the definition of marijuana in the Federal Controlled Substances Act. Hemp is now defined as the plant, Cannabis sativa L, and any part of the plant, growing or not, with less than 0.3% THC concentration on a dry basis. The plant itself is no longer a controlled substance. Hemp is one of the most versatile plants on earth. From clothing, fiber, paper, building materials, hempcrete, biofuels, CBD, and medical uses, it has been a part of America's industry for over 200 years. Even the United States Constitution was drafted on hemp paper. The time is now. If you're thinking of getting in the farming or processing of hemp, contact our global experts, legal, and consultation teams to make sure that you're on the right road when you venture into the new hemp industrial revolution. Michigan Hemp Industries has been a leader and advocate for the return of the hemp industry, so come be a part of the new revolution in agriculture in Michigan.
I am Earl from G3 Cannabis Therapy Network, and you are watching Planet Green Trees, the original and #1 podcast in Michigan for all things cannabis and legal news.